Yo, what's happening? Welcome to another episode of Hope. We are here. We back. Hope y'all had a good week last week and got to marinate on some of the topics we talked about last week, especially the ones around our thinking and around momentum and how it works. And we're going to dive deeper into those today. We're going to talk some more. We're going to finish this book, damn it. We're going to finish this book tonight. So we're going to go straight into those first, and then we're going to go back around and talk about a little bit more about momentum, but we're going to get through it. We got a great class for tonight and great dialogue. What makes this class excellent is not just us sitting here talking, but the interaction, the questions, the challenges from you guys. So let's do it again today, and hopefully we'll have another banger. So let's get started. So this is the topic of today's class is called strategy. First slide. Okay, commitment 9, living a life of play and rest. We talked about that last week. This is a work in progress for some of us, and others have got it down. I mean, here's the reality of entrepreneurship and living a life of play and rest. People talk a lot about work-life balance, right? In entrepreneurship, true entrepreneurship, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. You can challenge me on that, and I'd love to have a debate on it. I've never met a successful entrepreneur who's performing at a high level consistently over years, who balances work life. What we believe is harmony. You weave in and out those moments, those times, what you need into your life. In perfect balance, nothing happens. In harmony is where you're moving, you're making music, the music of your life. So we live in harmony. We still do the things we need to do. If you prioritize your family, prioritize them, make it happen. You prioritize your body, you prioritize it, you make it happen. You prioritize your business, you make it happen. You prioritize your sleep, you make it happen. You find a way to harmonize all the things that you want to do in your life, period. And that is the work. The work-life balance stuff, the 4-hour work week books that was bestsellers, those things, they're misleading. And depending on what phase of life you're in entrepreneurship, you will be behaving differently in those ways. You get to certain places. So if you're in stage 1, day 1, step 1 of entrepreneurship, you are completely different than if you're in 15 years in. 15 years in says, man, what you doing working so much? It's crazy. That's misleading and confusing. Versus, what stage is you in? You just started? Yep, that's about right. You ain't getting no sleep. Yeah. You working on this? Okay, sure. Now, if you guys know about the book E-Myth, right? That is a beautiful way to describe how we get to this phase. I was beating myself up recently about this, about what I've done before and my inability to teach because I'm not there yet. But I'm looking at the stage where I'm at in my business, and I'm at the exact stage where it's time to start detaching and building systems in place that can work for me. And I have to be conscious enough and disciplined enough to realize I gotta back away. It's certain elements of my business so that I can get to that next stage. I'm in year 10, right? So it depends on where you are. And some can get there faster depending on the type of business. So that's why there's no one prescription, one way. This is where we want to be. This is where we need to be. But the other thing is this. If we're talking harmony, you're also harmonizing the play within the business. So, did you have fun today? That's the question. Did you have fun today? Did you enjoy something today? Something, one thing, two. Did you have fun today? Today was rough, right? I had to write somebody up. I had to fire somebody. I had to hardcore negotiate with somebody. Emotions got high today between me and another employee, and I was in my feelings a little bit. However, what was fun today? You know, can you weave in, and that's what true harmony is. Can you weave in the fun parts and then expand it out as time goes on? Man, yeah, I did. I had some dope happen today. Something dope where I got up and clapped in the office, and it was like, what? I was like, never mind. I'm not going to spoil it because I'm not going to jinx it, but this is a dope opportunity. Like, there's a couple fun things that happened, right, within the day. And my goal right now is to try to think and to lock those times in my memory to say, man, I did have fun. I did do some fun things today as we expand out. So that's the commitment. Laughter. What I love about this brother, he teaches me this. He's been teaching me this since I've been here. Absolutely incredible about how he can switch between, Nana can switch between, man, you got me fucked up, and laughing his ass off 2 seconds later. You know what I'm saying? And that is finding the rhythms between understanding the energy of laughter. It's a good energy. It's a high vibration. You can shift the mood in the room. It can take you from here to there. And so that's still something I'm learning in my office. Because and that's a work in, and what that is discipline. It's emotional agility. That's true emotional agility to be able to do that. Next slide.
Exploring the opposite. I commit to seeing that the opposite of my story is as true or truer than my version of the story.
This is so hard for people to do. We fight so hard to be right. We fight so hard to be right. People ask the question, what is it? What is it that makes us fight so hard to be right? Man, I want to be right so bad that I'm unwilling to explore any other options. I'm locked into this. I'll die on the stake on it. In an entrepreneur world, the term "I bet you it ain't" don't exist. You know why? Because you know what? It could be. And it could be that, and it could be that, and it could be this, and it could be that, it could be that. I'm not tied to the outcome of what I think is right in this moment. This is my hypothesis. This is a hypothesis. And us as black folks, we come from such oppressed beginnings and where they teach us such low self-value that when we become adults, we don't want to ever go back there. So we always fighting for what's right. But as an entrepreneur, it fucks you up. It fucks you up because this isn't a guaranteed mission. It's not a guaranteed game. It is a game of trial and error. It is a game of what is the next logical step, and I'm not sure. Let me try this. Wait, ooh, that didn't work. I'm glad I didn't go. Oh, let me go here. And you're constantly maneuvering, going to the left, to the right, finding things and finding your outcomes. That's entrepreneurship. So the perfectionists, the I knows, the I'm rights, all that's great at school and it's great in a corporate world, in a job. But as an entrepreneur, it'll lead you down a cliff, a dark path every time. At some point, you cannot be fighting for what you think is right. You have to put that and say, I'd love to know what you think. And why do you think that? Give me some, give me more info of why you think that. Where'd that come from? Oh shit, now I understand why you think that. And imagine if you explored another person, now you get the real picture over time. The more aspects of truths you find, that is a truth. You'll find the truth, and you'll realize your little bullshit truth is just one tiny microcosm of the whole truth. It's the real. So if you like, this is one of your superpowers as an entrepreneur. One of your superpowers. Someone asked the question, does that make you a wishy-washy person? Does that make you a wishy-washy person? No. You know what it makes you? Progressive, evolving, curious. There's a saying, and I'm gonna mess it up, but you'll get the gist of it. They say that it's not the strongest man that survives. It's the one that adapts the best. What makes you adaptive? Locking in on your ideas? No. What makes you adaptive is, let me back up. No, that's not it. Let me try that. Here's a second one. That question I got. Does that make you lack of integrity? Now, that exploring the opposite of someone's view is completely different from your internal integrity. Your core governing beliefs and what you believe is completely different than as you move through life, understanding how and why people come up with what they came up with and other people's points of view. I can understand how someone could be racist or a KKK member or any of that. Like, does that make me not who I am? No, I just understand it. I can understand why people will vote for Trump. I can understand. Because the objectiveness of, before I lock in on my opinions and my feelings about what is right and wrong, tell me a little bit about that. Why? How'd you get here? That's what's important. What's the next one?
I recognize that I interpret the world around me and give my stories meaning.
Damn. So, your story is your story. Your story is your story. Mm-hmm. Damn, you to be so athletic, Shakina, you are
Calamity.
You are having a explore the opposite, Shakina. That's good, Tone. Our view is just our view. Our view is just our view. And we once we're comfortable with that is my perspective, then we're comfortable with giving people benefits of the doubt. We're comfortable with getting feedback from customers. What'd you think about my product? It sucked. I didn't like it. Instead of saying that person's a hater or you're not my demographic or my target market. Whoa, time out. Let's talk. Where you come from? Where did that come from? Tell me more about that. I want to hear it. I'm going to pull out my pencil and pad. I could take some notes. That way you might find gold in just that one person. You had a question?
From a business perspective, exploring versus taking, right? It's good to hear all the opinions and explore and have the questions and go through that exercise because you don't know what it will turn up. But how have you decided, okay, I got all this feedback and this is the part I'm going to apply and this is the part I'm not going to apply, or maybe I'm not going to apply any of it?
Good question. Have anybody ever called you and was like, let me tell you about this person. They're a piece of shit. They did this to me. They did that. They did that. They did that. Did that. And you like, for real? And by the end of the conversation, you and that person was like, man, fuck that person. Yes. And later on, when you heard the other side of the story, you realized that there was two sides to every story. Has that ever happened? And you were like, man, I'm glad I didn't say nothing because I was all the way over there. And now I'm back kind of in the middle. Or I'm on their side. They told me there's three sides to every story. His, hers, and the truth. Right? So there's a saying, knowledge is potential power and truth will set you free. So it's the gathering of knowledge that you're looking for. We'll never get there. We'll never be able to gather everything. So what you're looking for is the nuggets of information that you could use. You're looking to take action on something. So instead of taking action on the first person calling, always be skeptical and sit back and say, let me gather from you. Let me gather from you. And what do you think? What do you think? And over time, that's what skews your decision-making process. It literally moves you in a different direction in terms of the action you're going to take. The more knowledge you take in.
Can I add something to that? Is that okay?
Of course.
Don't try to decipher feedback alone. Try to engage other people. So at 510 Media, everybody looks at feedback. If Nana gets feedback, he's always like, hey, let me run something by you. Like when I worked for big brands, it was always a team of people looking at the feedback. It's very difficult to do that as one person because your own biases and blind spots and blocks, right? You're going to like certain things and not like other things, and just I don't want to talk about that, right? But if you engage other people who can help you look at that, same thing with like get enough data points, but also I would say never look at feedback by yourself and then try to make a decision, because at some point you're gonna put ego over outcomes just because it's pinchy. So try and engage other people to help you sift through that so you get what's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And don't differentiate between what you think good feedback and bad feedback is.
There's none.
It's feedback. It's gold. It's all gold.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide.
Sourcing approval, control, and security. I commit to being the source of my approval, control, and security. Humans have three core wants: approval, belonging, control, ego satisfaction, and security or survival. All of our desires, dreams, concerns, etc., come from these core wants.
So, in Buddhist tradition, they say this is where suffering comes from. This is the source of your suffering, right? When you try to control something outside of yourself, you immediately start the process of suffering. So, controlling other people, controlling outcomes, controlling everything out here is a cognitive distortion.
Yeah.
It basically is all of us has this slight mental disorder. And if we came from abusive situations, abusive homes, abusive anything, then that control button is turned high when we become adults.
I'll give microphone, give microphone.
Here you go. Here comes the mic.
Oh, alrighty. Would you mind expanding on cognitive distortion?
Cognitive distortion basically means, as humans, we have mental disorders that we have that are normalized in today's society. And so if you say, I'm a perfectionist, right? In today's society, we look at that sometimes as good things. But clinically, psychologically, even if you look up clinical documents, perfectionism is a mental disorder. OCD. Same with fortune teller errors, and so there's a list of cognitive distortions. I think there's 22 of them, and so these are connected to them. And so once we say I'm committed to being the source of my own approval, my own control, and my own security, then it releases us from having that need from the outside world. It releases the need. So I don't know if a few classes back we talked about self-love, self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, right? Mm-hmm. Once you lock those things in, who are you going to go to for your approval? Who you going to go to? You don't need it. And so this is a lifelong journey of things that we have to work towards. It's not let's look at this slide and tomorrow I'm locked in. This is what we're going to be working on, all of us, for the rest of our life. And as entrepreneurs, this is important. Next slide.
It was the next line, next slide.
Next slide. Oh, did we?
We finished.
No, you
We
didn't.
finished it. Yeah, next slide.
Okay.
Having enough of everything. I commit to experiencing that I have enough of everything: time, money, love, space, resources.
Keep going.
3 truths of sufficiency. 1, money is like water. No matter the flow, you direct where it goes.
Okay, let's stop with that one. Does anybody know what that means? Money's like water. Somebody got a mic?
It's fluid. It comes and goes.
Anybody else?
I'll stumble into it. I'm reading it as like, I choose where money is going. So if I am spending money, then I'm directing it away from me. But if I'm choosing to invest it into the things, then there is enough for me to have whatever it is that I'm wanting to have. So if I have a business, I'm directing the flow of money into that thing. Or if I am directing it to like buying the latest shoes all the time, then I'm directing it for me to struggle with money.
Close. Good attempt. Go ahead.
I was just going to add that I also think about it like when they describe water and how fluid it is, and it takes like the most direct path. It'll go through things, under things, over things. Like it's not predetermined. And so I feel like with money, it's similar, where you can leak money or you can gain money based on positioning and opportunities. And water is very opportunist. It's like, oh, there's a crack, let me go through it. Or there's a barrier, let me go around it. And so I think of it that way as well.
Online said money is always flowing.
That's a good one too. Here's a deal. Money is what they call a currency. So there are other currencies in our world. One is electrical current, right? AC, DC current. It flows. It has, and it flows to the earth, right? That's why you have ground. What electronic cats do I have in here? You got ground, where anytime you have a positive and negative current, you have to have a ground so it can flow to the ground. That's why when lightning strikes, right? So it's a currency. Water flows, right? Our air currents, those are currencies. Winds, those are currencies. Money's the same currency. You know why? Because money don't really exist. It's fake. The paper that we have in our wallet, that's not real. We made it up. We put dead presidents on a piece of paper with green ink. You know what makes it valuable is our story. is our collective commitment to what it means. And what it means is an exchange of value between two people. Started off as, I make good swords and you have apples. My family loves apples and you vulnerable, you ain't got no swords. So you can make yours, or I could trade you some of mine for some of your apples. That's how it used to be. But over time, as populations grew, it's too messy. And man, I already got the sword from last year, but I still got hella apples. So they said, cool, well, what we'll do is we'll take this gold and we'll turn this gold into coins. And this is our currency. Now this gold has a certain value depending on the weight and the size. America comes along and says, hey, we big bad America. We'll use gold as our standard. And at a certain point, 1941, I want to say, 1940, we said, we don't even need the gold no more. We'll just use our status as America to say, $100 bill worth a $100 bill. And we all said, bet. Right? So we can print as much as we want because it's on our word. And the meaning of money, the story is what allows us to trade our value. So money is a currency, a trade of value. So if you have value, say you the coldest in town of whatever it is, but just say you the coldest in town. And you got $0 in your bank, but you the coldest in town. Are you worried about money? You got demand on what you got because you the coldest in town. So you automatically know that you have a current flowing through you. So what you have to learn is how to manage the flow, how to maneuver the flow, how much to save, how much to spend. Now, there's a person who makes a whole bunch of money and just stores it away and leaves it there. Is he the best person too? Hell no. Because if you let it sit in 2-5 years, it's worth less. I'm gonna mess this up too, but you get the point. They say in 1930 or is it 1920 that if you had $1 million in 1920, it's worth like a third of that now. A third of that. Because in 1970, a can of soup a can of Campbell's soup, you can buy it for 10 cents, 20 cents, a can of Campbell's soup. And in 2021, that exact same can it costs $1.41. That's what, if you let money sit, that's what happens. So you have, in order for it to not get stale and stagnant, it has to flow too. You got to move it constantly. The same thing that happens if you let water just sit because you're scared. It gets stagnant and it becomes undrinkable. So scared money, that shit don't make money either. Overspending is bad too. So there's so much so that even in the Bible, they stopped and talked about it in the Bible. Of all books, a man had like 3 slaves and he gave them separate amounts of money. I'm gonna give you 1 cent, I'm gonna give you 5, I'm gonna give you 10. And the one talent person was like, hey, he only gave me 1. I'm not messing this up. I'm gonna go bury it. So when he get back, brush it off and be like, see, I gave it, hey, I did right by you. You know what he did? He literally, if they could cuss in the Bible, he would have cussed him out. He called him a wicked and slothful slave. Not for not losing it, for not flipping it. Think about that. He cussed him out not for not losing it, but for not flipping it. You didn't do your job and move the currency of money like you were supposed to. Crazy. The 5, he flipped it to 10, and the 10, he flipped it to 20. And guess what? He said, take this man's money and give it to the person who got 10. He know what to do. Well, how come he didn't split it with the guy with 5? That ain't fair. Life ain't fair. Life ain't fair. But I think that was something very important to understand, is that you can direct flow, and you can change the dynamic of money by your value. You increase your value, you increase the amount of currency that you can move through yourself in business. So a lot of us had $10,000 a month dreams growing up. If you was born in the 70s and 80s, $10,000 a month was the big dream, right? That's where your conduit, you set it at that, $10,000 a month. And that was you went for that. Some 5, some 1, depending on where you are. But that amount only changes based on your value as an entrepreneur. Question.
Well, can we turn these down some? It was more so kind of just like a story. So when I accidentally became an entrepreneur, I was one of those people that had that $10,000 goal. And I remember I was doing Herbalife.
What? Herbal what? Herbal what the
Matter of
fuck?
fact, I tried to sell you at the gym.
Sure did.
Show did before I knew you.
Sure did.
Tried to sell you some Herbalife. But I
Okay. She tried to sell me some
I did.
Herbalife.
I really did. So pre 510 media. But oh God, thank God I've been delivered. Okay. Anyway, so I remember being in Herbalife and like being a single mom and like just doing my damnedest to like, make a living for my child. And my upline was like, so what do you want to do? And I told him, I was like, I want to make $10,000 a month. Like this, like $2,000 it's not it. And he laughed at me. And he was like, there's no way you're going to make $10,000 a month. And that was the thing that drove me. So when I created Pinpoint, I was like hyper focused on $10,000 a month. And I remember like, I don't know, it took maybe like 3 or 4 years before like I did it consistently. Like the first month I was like, oh my God. And then I like dipped and then, and then so it took about year 3 or something before I could maintain those numbers. And then I hit a period of lostness because I was like, okay, I can easily do this now. And so the story and the drive that got me to build the company to get to this number that was the original dream, I don't know what the hell to do with myself. And so it's interesting, like being 10 years in as a brick and mortar and trying to figure out like what is the next news story that's going to drive me to the next level, because my previous story just ain't cutting it. Like I'm like $10,000, I die. I have staff. I have all this crap that I'm responsible for. And so, but I'm still struggling with like my mindset of being like, well, you're making more than what you ever thought, So it's like, it's a very interesting space. And I do struggle to find the consistent motivation or just like, I don't know, like inspiration to like find the next thing to drive me to the next level. So I just wanted to.
That's mass. You guys remember that from last week? That's mass. So the goal is to increase your mass. You increase your mass, then you can increase your momentum. But that happens. We talked about it. What happens when you have this story that you tell yourself and then you achieve the story? Then what? That's why it goes back to you got to be looking at the opposite sides of everything so that you're able to say, this story isn't working anymore. Let me move this cube around and let's adopt this one. Yep. Let's keep going.
I don't like commitment number 12 or 9 or 10 or 11.
You ain't supposed
I just
to.
want to say that. What you appreciate appreciates. And then number 3, collaboration creates prosperity.
So what you appreciate appreciates. Ooh, that's sexy. What you appreciate. So remember we talk about gratitude? Have you ever been single and you was just desperate for a relationship and you couldn't find nothing? It was for a while. It was just you was looking and couldn't find. And then you got somebody, and then that's when everybody was on your head trying to get at you. Have that ever happened to you? Because a lot of times when you are good, you good. You give off an energy that you good. You don't need nothing. You got it. You got it. I have everything I need. And the I have everything I need energy is attractive to others. The desperate, I need God, please, God energy is people feel that shit. And it ain't attractive at all. You look dusty. My mom used to say, you look dry around the mouth. That's what my mom used to tell me. Boy, you look dry around the mouth. That's that. I need, like, that desperate scratching and clawing energy. It gives off a certain vibration to others. When you got it, when you cool, when you in your soul feel like I have everything that I need and I appreciate it, it's attractive. It's an attractive energy. People want to be around that. Man, I want to be around that. It's good. It's a dichotomy in the ways you have to think in order to attract what you want. You got to be appreciative of what you got. What you appreciate expands. In other words, man, I'm grateful for where I am, for what I have. There's nothing wrong with wanting more, but I'm appreciative with what I have. And that's an attractive energy. Now, this one is huge. Collaboration creates prosperity. Now, remember we talked about synergy, having a synergistic approach to things in business, win-win deals and negotiations. As an entrepreneur, if you move with the entrepreneur energy of a win-lose deal, that means I'm trying to get mine and I'm trying to leave you with nothing, right? And that's dog eat dog. It's the way the game works. You know, it's the casualty of war. Player, step your shit up. Yeah, you may win some, but overall, when you create collaboration amongst people around you, that's what creates prosperity. We talk about this all the time. The Bay, Oakland, we come up with the energy of, I'm going to get it myself. I don't need nobody. We see how that plays out if you grew up around here. Power of the people is some of the biggest energies that you can pull in. Is I can collab with you, and if I do good to you, then you're going to work hard and we're going to work together and create more. Not 1 + 1 = 2, 1 + 1 = 20, = 50. And what about a third person and another person? Once I learned that, once I understood that concept, making millions in my business was it started happening. Once I understood that concept, clawing to make hundreds of $1,000s versus people jockeying on your behalf, fighting on your behalf to help you collectively to make this one thing grow became much easier. Not easy, but easier. I call it the power of the people. I ain't that smart like that. I'm not. I ain't got no college degree like that. So how did I do it? You know what helped me even talk better than I talk now? This class. It forced me to have some sort of vocabulary. Before that, I didn't have none. Because I'm a doer. I ain't no talker. How do we make that happen? Is people being willing to collaborate with people better than you, smarter than you. Saying, I don't know what I'm doing over there. This is what I'm good at, my brother. You good at that? Then we're going to work together. And, here, the pie comes, I'm going to split it and you take it. Or How much did I promise you? $100, and we only made $100? Here, you take this $100. Well, what are you going to do? Don't worry about me. I promised you that 100, here's 100. Doing that over time builds trust in teams, and they will fight to help you build what you want to build. If you're a dictator or authoritarian, or you put off selfish energy, or I'm going to get mine energy, your shit ain't going to pop. I'm sorry. It ain't going to pop. It ain't going to pop. So that's kind of church kind of stuff, but it's not. It's still real life. It's entrepreneurship all the way. It's the golden rule kind of stuff, which is in the Bible, but this is entrepreneurship 101. Win-win deals, win-win negotiations, and collaboration. In my particular experience, our company's 10 years old. I didn't put myself on payroll till 2019, 2020. Everybody got paid. Everybody got paid. Every year, every 2 weeks. I ain't tripping. I figure it out. And I didn't publicize it. I didn't even tell nobody. But the accounting department knew. Where your check come? Don't worry about my check. Just make sure everybody. So guess what happens? People will run through walls for you. Half of my staff has been there 9 years. Some 10 years. Is because collaboration, it creates prosperity. So that independent spirit energy that we're taught growing up here is whack, is trash. I could do it by myself, trash. Independent, trash. All trash. I need you. I need you. I could survive by myself. Absolutely. I could survive by myself. I'm a survivor. But to prosper and to grow and to multiply and to make big shit happen, I need you. I need you. I do. So the question I'm going to ask is, how can I serve you? How can I serve you and add value to you to make you want to reciprocate that energy back? That's how we make this shit really pop. Synergy. You know where they got the term horsepower from? Horses back in the day, because when they made cars, they were like, we're going from horses to cars, so we're just gonna call this horsepower, right? That's how they determined what horsepower is. 315 horses is as fast as it'll take. So our scientists wasn't that smart back then either. But if one horse by itself can carry like 5,000 pounds, 2 horses by itself is not 10,000. It's like 20,000, because it's a invisible energy in between them called synergy that can help both of them pull more than what they could by themselves, or adding the two together. That's what synergy is. Same with 2 humans. Same with 3 or 4. This is super crazy important. It's crazy important. I can't stress on this enough. Questions on that? Next slide.
Experiencing the world as an ally. I commit to seeing all people and circumstances as allies that are perfectly suited to help me learn the most important things for my growth.
Okay, hold on. This one's tough. Look, I can see it right. Man, hell no, man. What about that one person? Man, Oakland crazy right now. What about the Bippers? Like, seeing the world as an ally is probably one of the toughest but most powerful things you can do. When you move through the world with a, hey, how you doing? Man, that's my that kind of energy, you will be crazy surprised on what you can attract. Again, not gonna sit up here, Nana, and act like I am the ambassador of that either, because I'm not. I'm learning. And you know where I learn? When I'm out of town. Because that's where I practice, out of town. Hey, how you doing? Hey. And you'd be surprised the shit that can happen in life, the good things that can happen in life with that kind of energy. Oh, man. And so my goal is to transfer it when I get back to Oakland. I'm working on that. Because all these years of building up this mask of who you are, you forget. But seeing the world as an ally, the person that you're in the elevator with, the person you sit next to in the airplane, the person you walk past, you don't realize the degrees of separation of people that are around you that are close to what you want or where you want to be. One example. So when I first started practicing this, was with my dog Nana, right? We working out at the gym, 24 Bayfair, and we was talking about, like, we're both passionate about helping black folks and our love for our people, and my in particular desire to want to help black men and black young black boys, right? That's an internal thing that I have. As we're talking about this, we're leaving the gym, and a young black boy walks past me, and I mean mug him. Fuck. Not because I wanted to, it's just my natural thing. I've been doing since a teenager. And then he was like, hey, how you doing? And he was like, fine, good, how are you? I'm like, fuck. That was the first time it like clicked. Like, how can you want to help a group so badly, but you can't even walk past a group and speak? You see what I'm saying? It's a weird psychological thing. So when we start going out of town, I said, I'm gonna practice this. First year I practiced it, I'm on the plane with the other. I don't talk to others. That was my thing. I don't talk to others. Sitting there, and I'm like, you know what? How you doing? I'm good. How are you? We start talking dialogue. What do you do? What do you do? I have an athletic brand called Coresmith. What do you do? She's like, oh, I'm retired. What'd you do? I was VP at Nike.
That's true. True story.
After an hour of talking, kikiing, and ha-haing, I want to be I want to be on your board. I really like what you're doing. For a year and a half, consulted me for free.
Wow.
One conversation. Hey, how you doing? And can you imagine if you looked at everybody you see like that? Everybody you walk past. Question.
So I'm curious, how has that worked back home? Because, and I'm not challenging you, I want to know this from you, because you had mentioned something, you practice when you're out of town. It is, it is a little bit harder to do this when you are jaded or you have experience from where you live. So it is easier to do this when you're away. So my question to you is, now that you're doing that when you're out of town, how has it worked for you back home?
I'm about 7%. I'm gonna be honest. Now I'm making a concerted effort of getting better and speaking, and so I haven't fully integrated it into, like, I'm about 7%, be honest.
I appreciate that, and I'm gonna tell you, Corey. I think we talked about this. I felt the same way when I was out of town, and as soon as I was when I was on the plane coming back, I'm like, I'm not gonna judge no more. I'm gonna walk and talk to people more. As soon as I got back, I was like, nah. It was just harder.
But
You
it's
know,
a story.
it was just
What it
harder.
is it's a story, right? So we all have these stories that we made up in our head about that's connected to our survival, right? It's connected to our ego. So our ego and our feelings is connected to survival mode. It doesn't care right or wrong. All it cares about is if you survived. So if you adopt a certain behavioral pattern and it helped you survive, it's locked in. It's locked in. So you have to interrupt that pattern heavily, consistently, in order to break it, and have positive experiences that counteract your old story. So if you're in the rhythm, when you get back home, you're in the rhythm of life. AirPods in, to the gym. I got this amount of time to work out. Now from workout, and my excuse had been, if I stop and talk, I'm gonna mess up my workout. I gotta be at a meeting at 10 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock I can't. So it's these stories that you tell yourself. The thing is, if you experience the world as an ally, meaning every person is a golden link in my chain of good, as a psychology, as a mentality, as a way of living, then you look at people different. You see people different. That energy is different. If you see every person like, oh shit, let me symbolically tuck my purse. Let me hide my purse with this person. That person's a racist. That person, with all your generalizations, you stay in your corner, and you can't really experience life. I'm telling you, it is something I'm working on. But when I do it, it changes things. It makes life easier. Do you know somebody who moves like that? I do. I know a couple. A lot of my partners are like that. And I say 4 out of 5 of my partners are multimillionaire entrepreneurs. The ones who move like that. You laughing because I say partner? She's like, bring the single ones around. They move like that. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, I really like your glasses. I really like that, all day, every day. And next you know, it's a whole ass story behind it. They're talking about the glasses. Next you know, they found something in common. When I went to San Diego, last time I went to San Diego trip, that's where I'm practicing. Go back, we walk into the store. Man, me and the dude is in the back playing video games. We end up in the back playing video games. Like you experience things that is absent to the regular world. Gotta try it. I know Fern. Any trail that I go to that met Fern, God, they love the hell out of Fern. Man, I just love me some Fern. And I'm thinking, what is she saying to you to make that happen? Because I want some. No, well, it's what Fern wants to do. Well, wait, hold on. Fern's not here yet. Like, they love them some Fern. So that is a tool set. Listen, it's also no coincidence that she has one of the biggest wine events in the country. It's moving with that energy.
Let me read that second line, if you don't mind, Sharisha.
Every circumstance helps you uncover something new about your beliefs, behaviors, desires. Everything is for you.
This is actually the answer to the feedback question. Everything that happens to you is an ally. There is no such thing as when you feel attacked, that's because you defined it as an attack. If I tell you you're trash, you have to receive that and go, oh God, I'm being attacked because he called me trash. Or you can say, oh, that's the way he communicates. He doesn't like it. It's the same thing. When you moving through everything's an ally. Okay, I'm gonna show you how cold this is. I learned something when my mother died. If you can watch somebody close to you die and still be here to survive, that's the closest thing to being saved. Everything that happens to you is an ally. Everything. If you're still here, everything you experience is a gift back to you. The problem is that you'd be surprised how much we don't know, how much we can't understand, how much we don't see, how much we built survival patterns and behaviors and thoughts and ideas that just got us here, but it's not going to take us where we want to go. A lot of disruptions in our lives are hard lessons for us to grow and expand, right? But often we show up to these challenges with defense. We're so defensive that all we're doing is just holding the line, meaning that now we're 60 years of age and have the same life outcome because this whole time we've just been holding the line, as opposed to taking every opportunity that comes across your table as an opportunity to become something, to learn something different. So literally when something happens, you say, what does this mean to me? What's the lesson? What is this gift for me? Everything. I'm talking about the good things are easy to think about. But what about the bad things? Right? And I'm not saying they're going to be, when you're in the midst of it, it's hard. It's almost like you got to know that is what is at the end of the tunnel because you won't see it. But trust me, every breakup. I remember I went to my mentor and he was his wife Yolanda used to make the best pumpkin cupcakes I've ever had. And I don't even know. I never even asked for a pumpkin cupcake in a day of my life. It sounds weird. But she used to make these pumpkin cupcakes, and like right around the holidays, I don't even celebrate Christmas, but I was at their house eating them pumpkin cupcakes. And she died. So I went to him, I was like, I saw him, I ain't seen him for a few years. I said, yo, my man, I heard your wife died after, they've been married years, 40 years. And he looked at me and says, it's okay. I had her for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I went, but he taught me by showing up to life and seeing that life in itself is a total gift. Mm-hmm. We don't need to see burning bushes or somebody walking on water. Life is the miracle. And so long as we start to see all these touch points are actually rewards, now when somebody walks up to you in your business and says, let me give you feedback, you're thinking, you care? That's all I hear. You care. I don't hear, oh, you're going to tell me something going to make me. No, you care? Man, sit down. And through and yes, there's a chance they can have a different expectation and all that stuff. But I want you to sit with me because you care. That's a whole different, and then you can find patterns and extract from those patterns, or later on, like, for example, there's times I've been mad when clients say, you should do this. Now, I didn't let the client know I was angry. I called Michelle up. I was like, man, this motherfucker told me what? Right? After I get the anger out, I go, could it be true? And sometimes it is. And it's the coldest pivot I've ever made. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, like, you can't guard that line with defense. You got to guard that line with offense. So that's why if you change your brain from a defensive brain to an offensive brain, and you move with offense and you're looking for, that's what Court, like when Court is out and we're on trips or we're in certain places, and I do it here, you'll be surprised how many powerful people surround you, but you'll never know because you hide behind your wall of defense.
Mm-hmm. What's worse than negative feedback?
None.
None. None. That is the worst thing that can happen to you. Is for an angry customer to not say anything to you and never come back. Mm-hmm. If somebody takes their time out to directly tell you, give you feedback on your product, they care. They want you to get better.
I heard something from Seth Godin recently that I thought was the coldest thing. He said when somebody gives you negative feedback, even if they don't like you personally, they're just giving you the gift of telling you what doesn't work for them.
Yes. Man, you got to reframe how you receive any kind of negative feedback. It's all gold. It's all gold. And anything. Have you ever gone through something in life and it was really, really rough? It was exhausting and it was excruciatingly painful. And then later on in life, you look back and you're like, damn, I'm glad that happened. Mm-hmm. We all have. Mm-hmm. So that means that experience was your ally then. That experience was your ally. And like he said, it's tough to view it when you're in the middle of it. But if you adopt the mindset now of, man, what can I learn from this in this moment? It can help you accelerate, get through it. Let's finish. Let's keep going.
In the experience of growth, pressure plays a critical role.
So pressure will play a critical role in your growth. So, another word, tension, right? Stress, tension, friction. Those are some key words that a lot of us don't like, right? I don't like conflict. I don't like conflict. I don't want no problems. Who in this room, if you're courageous enough, when shit get it tense, they just leave the room? Thank you for your honesty.
Hilarious.
Thank you for your honesty. Wait, what? Wait, I don't want to argue with you.
I used to do that.
Leave the room, right? No, don't get no. Go ahead.
Not defending because it's not where I want to be, but noticing my evolution. Like, so when I first started, I'll say pre-motherhood, I would be the person to start the fight. Then I moved into, I wouldn't start it. Then I like ran away from tension, but then I would be the person where I'm like, be calm. Once you yell at me, I'm gonna shut everything down. Then I transitioned into, I'm not going to participate in this. And I would like to transition into not running away from things, but figuring out how to face things even when they're intense. But like that journey, I'm not where I want to be at, but I can also respect the process of being that person that would be like 0 to 100 for no reason, to like being the terrorist, to like now being the person that can de-escalate and walk away, to hoping to become the person that can sit through the fire and like become gold on the other side.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing the journey, and we all got different journeys through that. Tone Vic had one. I love like Tone Vic. I'm so proud of the way I'm seeing him go through his journey. The early part of Tone Vic's journey was the minute you say some shit Tone Vic don't like. All right, Court, blood, I gotta go, blood. All right, blood, I'll see you later, blood. Like, hold on, we just ordered our food, Tone. Just ordered our food. But to see him go from that to like staying, to like accepting, to like thinking about it, to challenging it, to coming back and like, no, but you said this, and I don't think to questioning it, to applying it, to putting his head down and doing it, and seeing how it affected his business. That's how you do this shit. It's the beautiful journey of understanding that. Healthy stress is good. Friction is good. And being able to say, hold on, this don't feel good, but we gonna sit in this space and have this conversation. Because the alternative is why our youngsters is going off just pulling out pistols, and because it's the minute I feel uncomfortable that I'm not used to this feeling, and I have nobody in my circle that I've ever seen sit in an uncomfortable space and walk out at the end with respect. This is all I know. And we try to take this shit to business. I told that customer off. What? Mm-hmm. You told that customer off? I told them they was wrong. I remember, I tell you, we lost a $30,000 deal because of that. Customer was wrong. So my account manager sent the email with screenshots and everything. And he was like, all right, fuck y'all. You're right. Fuck y'all. and we never seen them again. We damn near placed that email in a picture on the wall as to show, hey, we will never behave like this again. Get in the friction. Question.
So I think friction and tension are good things, right? And I've come to understand their place of necessity. But I think there's stops along the way of like those examples that you just laid out. And here
I'm
go
sorry,
your favorite.
I'm not laughing at you. Go ahead.
You are.
I have often felt when it becomes clear to me we are not going to have a meeting of the minds, it's like I need my energy for the journey. I don't need to be using my time and attention, money, going back and forth. But I'm going through. This was the line of thought. I don't need to be using my time and attention going around and around in a swirl. We're not going anywhere. So, okay, I'm out. I'm not arguing with you because I need my energy for the journey of what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so here's a couple questions for you. In that journey, are you going to be able to need to negotiate?
Sometimes, yes.
Yes, sometimes yes. In that journey, is there going to be potentially big bad wolves that's going to jump out that you're going to need to slay?
Yes.
In that journey, are there going to be pitfalls and rough times that happen? Yeah. So in that moment is your practice for those times. So you relieved yourself of the opportunity to practice in those moments for those real times, those big bad wolves that jump out, those negotiations that last for a long time and they made you feel super uncomfortable and put pressure and stress upon you. And the moment you get that feeling, you have to practice how you play. So every moment is an opportunity to practice. In basketball, it's like this. If you went to a basketball practice and saw how good some of those kids are, you think, damn, that's a future Michael Jordan. That's a future John Morant. That's a future Kobe Bryant. That's a future LeBron James. You get them kids in real games, and only one of them is that good. Why? Because the rest of them, they don't practice intense, uncomfortable moments. They don't practice. When it gets tough like that, every time, they run. If the coach yells at them, they switch teams. If the coach cusses them out, they tell their mom, and their mom pulls them out and comes and yells at the coach. And all that shit happens continuously over the course of time, and they can dribble just as good as everybody else, and they can make the shots and all the shit 10 in a row, but you put them in a stress situation, and the minute it gets tense like that, they can't show up, and they don't even know how. They don't even know why. But that one little kid who mom say, you better figure it out, gets into it with you better figure it out. I ain't saying nothing. You figure it out. Coach cussed at you. Why'd he cuss at you? Figure it out. And all that continuous stress gives them the tools they need to when they get on the court, easy. That's why our kids from the hood go to the kids in the suburbs, they not the same. Because I deal with this type of, I hear gunshots all the time. So this game is a relief for me. It's not stress for me. Versus I've been chilling playing video games this whole time, and this is the most stressful thing I have in my life. So what my point is, every opportunity you get is the opportunity to practice your breathing, being calm, asking questions, asking their viewpoint. Tell me more about what you think. Listening, building rapport with them. Why is it so tense? Who's making it tense? Do you have the power to untense it? You do. So what tools can I use instead of matching their energy that I can start using and practicing to break them down and manipulating them, making them love me?
Let's go.
At the end of this, they loved me.
They always love me.
I've practiced, like I used to be there. And then my goal became, whenever a customer's not happy, at the end of this, I want him to be happier with my company than he was before he called me.
Come on.
Hey, Court, man, this thing is a disaster. Oh, wait, time out. Hold on. Let me move people out my office because I can't be having that. Come on in here. Let's talk. Tell me about it. He just, in the back of my mind, this motherfucker just said my company's a disaster. At the end, he like, okay, now this is what we're going to, and next year, we're going to do this and this and that in the year. Yes, that's what, because that's a practice. And so if that means when you're talking to your child, your daughter, your granddaughter, every customer, it's an opportunity to practice because that practice is going to make you money one day.
You kind of answered it already, but I wanted to just say this, and I don't want to keep you from going to the next thing, but I feel like highlighting this, what you're talking about right now, is one of the most important topics here. And I think throughout this whole Hope experience, because I feel like a lot of people don't understand that it is the pressure that has allowed the folks that have grown to grow. You know, we come from them days at Mother's Cookie, 510 Media, when Nana used to talk shit. Y'all remember? I used to be like, you need to be hard again. Like, pause. You need to be, you need to be mean again, whatever. But like, it was those days of me getting tired of, it was the pressure that he did put on me. I can only speak for myself. That, like you say, like the mother example, Tone, you better figure it out. I don't care if you did. I don't care about Tone Vic. I don't care about, figure it out. And I think that we don't, just hear me out. I think we don't stress that enough anymore. And a lot of people are just so used to the dopamine of the good thing they did or the likes they did. Like me and Jasadi, when we work, we always debrief, right? What could I do better? What did you like? What didn't you like? What could I work more on? And he'll tell me, we was getting into it the other day about something. But it's that pressure that has made me grow. And I've seen Shakina's growth. I've seen other people's growth. I'm not going to speak on everybody. But I really feel like it's important that we highlight that more. Because it ain't always going to be sweet. It ain't always going to be sweet. And it can't always be sweet. But it's the pressure that has allowed us to talk about what we talked about at the crib. To elevate. And I know it's going to be more pressure on me to get to that next level. But I just wanted to say, like, man, I think it's important that we keep stressing the folks, like, you gotta deal with that pressure.
Man, check this out. And I'm gonna give you. Entrepreneurship. Everybody want to be an entrepreneur. They talk that entrepreneurship shit, right? We can't see each other's bank accounts. We can't see people's grosses and their nets and what their revenue is. So we got to take each other's word based on conversation, right? And in conversation, everybody can look with their chest out like they done shit. But if you ain't got no battle scars, if you ain't lost no shit, if you ain't tried and failed no businesses, if you ain't had no major losses, you ain't no entrepreneur. Shut the fuck up. Man, I'm serious. It's people who talk that entrepreneurship shit all the time, or they say they have a degree. Or I don't care about your degree. Show me what you have done. There's people out here really in the field with businesses, brick and mortar businesses, figuring it out. COVID, if you got a business right now and you gone through COVID, you a savage. If you a black, if you... Look, I'm telling you. Here's another one. If you are a black entrepreneur to this day, you are almost a god. You know why? Because the journey that you had to go through to get to where you are without the resources that other people have and the excuses, you are a savage. But that's why it takes away from the real entrepreneurs, the one faking the funk. And the difference is the pressure and the stress. My mentors, when I'm coming up and I said, man, I'm going through it, they looked at me like almost like, so? And what? You want a cookie? I'm losing. I lost everything 4 times. Stop it. I don't want to hear it. What are you doing next? What's your plan? What can you learn from this? Y'all know this. I said, man, I've been a millionaire twice, right? That must mean I had to lose some shit. And that crash was nasty. Like almost lost my mind nasty. And guess what? My entrepreneur partners did not carry me and pat me on the back. They were there for me and like a real man helped me get up in certain ways that was hands off. Check on you. You still alive over there? Cool. Here's a little nudge. Here's a little nudge. But you can't get to this point without feeling this. You can't. You got to feel it. I've been there too, and this brother has too, where I've had somebody come to me and was like, "Damn, Court, you at the bottom? Here, I'm gonna give you everything back right here." And I'm like, "Nah, I need to feel all of it because I ain't coming back here. I don't want to come back here. Mm-hmm. So whatever I did to get here, I need to." That's why I quit smoking and drinking, because I want to, from a sober place, I want to touch every wall on the way back up, feel every feeling on the way back up. So I got the blueprint up here, not to get down there no more. You got to be psycho almost, and I am. I am, but in a positive way. So understand this entrepreneurship game. It ain't sweet like that. It ain't sweet. And if you have a big purpose, the stress is worth it. How many of y'all got kids? Now, the us men, we'll put our heads down for this. The women are the ones who had the babies, right? You went through tremendous pain, tremendous pressure, tremendous suffering, right? Was it worth it? That's my point. That's entrepreneurship too. Even if you might not be where you want to be, exactly where your bank account is where you want to be, or man, I thought I'd be here, but so what? You have valor because you've been in this fight. Next slide.
Creating win for all solutions.
We talked about this, win-win solutions, having a win-win mindset. I win, you lose mindset is the fastest path to your own internal and external destruction. You don't have to be a martyr to where you giving up here it is, all you take mine all the time. That's a martyr. You'll die. But you also don't have to be a taker either. If you move with the mindset of we're going to win together and we're looking for win-win solutions at how we move, the game gods will bless you. Next slide. No, let's keep.
I commit to creating win for all solutions. Win for me, win for the other person, the organization, the whole. For whatever issues, problems, concerns life gives me. Conscious leaders approach solutions with full transparency and openness. They know that to create win for all solutions, they must be completely available and willing to reveal their own experiences with honesty and integrity.
Period. So honesty, integrity is the key. Here's one example. Have you ever knew somebody who was super struggling in life, but they carried themselves like everything was always so good, so no one wanted to help them because they didn't think they needed the help? They couldn't understand why they couldn't get help. Because there's a certain lack of honesty there. When you're honest about where you are to the people you're collaborating with, then that will allow people to help you to say, oh, you missing that piece? I got that piece. Or I got that for you. That is so important for you, especially in the mind of collaboration. You got to be, I'm not saying you walk around telling everybody. I'm saying when you're collaborating with people, you got to know where you end and where somebody else can begin. Hey, this is, we talked about earlier, this is where I'm strong at. This is where I'm strong at. Well, perfect. Let's work together and do this. But if you fronting like you can do everything, then how do they know when to jump in and how to help? You got to have, it's a certain level of integrity there, being honest about how you collaborate with others. Last slide, and we did it. We did it. Last slide, and we did it. Bang! Last slide.
Being the resolution. I commit to being the resolution or solution that is needed, seeing what is missing in the world as an invitation to become what is required. Be the change you want to see. Conscious leaders recognize what is missing, meaning they are aware.
So, what tool do you need in order to be the resolution? Curiosity. What else? Starts with an R. Radical responsibility. You can't be the solution if you don't have radical responsibility. So if you move with radical responsibility, you're always looking at yourself as the solution. Always. What can I learn? How can I fix? You're looking at yourself as the fixer, the solution in a situation, not a victim. So we're in a completely, this is at odds with a lot going on in today's society because they play the victim a lot. We don't play that victim shit. We move in a space where we're the resolution everywhere we go. Now, what kind of reputation can you have in the world when people know you as a person who's a resolution? They want you in a space. You're an advancing person. I need you. Come on. Because I know that with you, 1 + 1 is going to equal 15. Not -5 because you playing the victim every time I'm around you. Damn. You weighing down the situation because you playing a victim role. Who hired this motherfucker? Who hired him? So, again, we got to be the change that we want to see. And it ain't easy. We got a big road ahead of us. And we probably won't live out the lifetime of seeing the huge parts of our results, but it don't matter. Like, we got to play the game. Like, we're going to resolve something. Like, there's a saying where there's a whole bunch of starfish stranded on a beach, and a guy was throwing a starfish into the water, and a man was like, "You ain't gonna make no difference." And he said, "It did to this one," and threw it back in. So we play the "it did to this one" game, like we do with this class, like we do with every person we come across, like the last slides. All right. So next week I ain't gonna be here. So we're gonna move into a different book next week, but we'll talk about it later. You hate me? You didn't get your own shit.
Hey, real quick, y'all. Go back to that last slide real quick. Go back a slide for me. I'm gonna add to this a little bit. You know, when you're a leader, you have to act a certain kind of way. You gotta walk a certain kind of way. You gotta move a certain kind of way. So moving with resolution is contagious. On my block, I move a certain kind of way. I know everybody around me moves the same way, right? In my friendships, I move a certain kind of way. I know everybody around me moves that same way. Sunday mornings, I thought my family was moving kind of slow. It was kind of stagnant. So I told my wife one day, I said, "Listen, next Sunday, I want you and get my daughter ready. We're gonna go to the tracks. And we're gonna just go around the tracks. You can run, you can walk, but what we're not gonna do is be in bed." So the first morning I got up, thought nothing about it. I just want to keep my family moving because a family that moves is always flowing. Good things happen. We get up, go to the track, and before we know it, well, Shakina was part of that discussion, so she was part of the first circle. Then it was Ayana and her kids. Then it was my parent-in-law, their mother and father. Then it was my neighbor and her niece. And now we have the track, and then Shabisha joined us.
I was gonna say it.
Right? I was like, you just get there before. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I ain't gonna leave her out. I ain't gonna leave her. But the key thing is that you see all these black folks out there running the track on a Sunday morning because it started from I'm moving with resolution. I cut out sugar. I said, hey, I'm getting rid of all added sugar in my diet. I look around, it's different people in my life. Jasadi, yo, I ain't eating no sugar like that, right? Shabisha, I'm not eating sugar like that. My wife, I'm not eating sugar like that. A lot of my friends start calling me, yo, you doing that sugar thing? I'm not doing sugar like that. When you move, the change you want to see, when you become that way, you start to breed that same behavior around your circle, and it becomes contagious, starts to have this impact. When I drive down the street, I don't run stop signs. Some young shorty see me running a stop sign, and then later on you see him driving crazy through the streets. I was part of that process. So when I hit a stop sign, I'm stopping. A light, I'm pausing, right? Because I realize laws are not, we define it when you poor, laws are tools of oppression, but later on you realize freedom requires compromises where everybody can have what they want. So laws is designed so we can maximize the freedom amongst the majority as opposed to the minority. So if everybody gets to run lights, that means I don't have the freedom. Think about this. If everybody's driving crazy, you don't even get the freedom to buy a nice car. You have a nice car. As soon as you sit in it, you realize, damn, it's only going to last a few weeks because ain't nobody following these rules. So for you to have enjoyment of something nice, then everybody must support the rules. And so me, myself, I walk in a certain kind of way to command and demand those around me to carry themselves a certain kind of way. When I'm in the office, I carry myself a certain kind of way. And I realized, like, the other day, Shama was talking to me for the first time I really was listening to him. I'm like, shit, he talks just like I do, with that force. Like, you don't know him with the force. But Shama used to be so quiet and humble and didn't speak at all. And the other day, he's like, man, this goddamn client called me. I was like, wait, am I listening to myself? Right? You'll be surprised as you move in this space of solution, you're inspirational because people see you solving problems. I got about these 6 hood dudes. I got a hood dude lives across the street from me. I'm so proud of this dude because he's fighting his way out of it. And his friends come and see him. They're all dope dealers. Ain't nobody not. They say they're not selling dope. I'm like, okay, yeah, aspirin. But all got major respect for me because they see me as a symbol of solutions. And so when you move in a space of solution, there ain't no such thing as, you'd be surprised how many people that it's like this powerful gravity that's pulling people to this gravity of we're going to move forward. And I realized that it'll get to a point where you'll hear your name through third parties as your gravity grows. So somebody be like, yo, I was out somewhere and then they saw about this doing Nana, and you're sitting there going, I can't, they don't know that's me, but fuck, I'm listening to this conversation, right? And you're hearing a conversation about gravity. So it's way deeper than just, just being a stand-up person. As you grow and you build, let's say you build a successful company, you're going to be more impactful. You're going to impact more people from just being in that space. There's some young person going to see you and go, oh, that's what you can do? Oh, that's where you can come from? I don't hesitate to tell people that I run a scientific branding firm with no college degree. But I also then proceed to tell them how I got from 69 VO or 73rd in Lockwood to having millions in my pocket. It's a practice. It's a rhythm. It's a lifestyle. It's not a lucky thing or blessed thing or a special people thing. It's a practice thing. And so now I know more and more young people that I spend time around, they call me and they announce their practices to me. They announce that they're reading an hour a day to me. Like I go to the gym, I got a young man. This young man is so impressive. I like this young dude a lot. He has like 1950 personality and 2020 language. And so he's very respectful, very stand-up, mannerism strong, just classy. So I always pull him aside and give him game. And he's like, yo, man, so I'm down to 30 minutes. I'm up to 30 minutes a day now, right? But it's like, we just had a conversation in passing, and then he just starts to ask me more and more questions, and you start to see the impact start to seek into his mind. That's what this life's about. Now, in conclusion, 360 of that same idea, your greatest joy will come from the return of your impact. I promise you, you'll try to be sad one day, and your impact will give you a call one day, and you'll be like, whew. It'll overwhelm you when you start to see people's lives being impacted, and they don't need to call your name. You know what you did. You know your impact. And when you see that impact, it reminds you the beauty of life itself. So that's a dope one. Go back another couple more slides. Go back. I got one that Court, keep going back one more. Let me see. Keep going. This was cold. This was cold. This is cold. Lock this in. 3 truths of sufficiency. Money is like water, no matter the flow. Oh no, wait. Oh no, wait. It goes. What you appreciate. No, go back another one. That's not the one. No, that's not the one. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Humans have 3 core wants. Write this down. Approval, which is belonging. Control, which is ego satisfaction, and survival. All of our desires, dreams, concerns, etc., come from these core wants. If you want to uncode marketing and human behavior, that's the core. That's the coding right there. You guys want to say, like, when it comes time to run your company, and you're trying to tell somebody why they should buy your product, or why they should engage your business, or why they should collaborate with you, if you're not paying attention to those 3 things right there, which is belonging, ego satisfaction, and their survival, if you don't understand those 3 right there, young people spend more money on ego. Is ridiculous. Belonging for young people? That's why young people don't listen to their parents and listen to their peers. This is why they listen to rap songs like it's a sermon from God, because why? They want to belong to the circle who listens to the same music, right? That's what social proofing is. This is at the core of all marketing and survival. At the end of the day, we care. Look, if you can show me how to survive, all right, a person can work at your company, have more loyalty to you than they have to their own mate at home. Once you understand these 3 right here, and if you look at the way you're running your business and these 3 are not involved, these are gaps in your marketing and your branding. Very, very powerful. Hit my first slide because we got so much to cover tonight. Woo! All right. I just want to do a real quick, real one-line recap. Shabish, you ready to go? Mm-hmm. All right, let's do it.
One effective...
Microphone, is Shabish's microphone on?
One effective question to ask yourself before you act is, will this action make the future easier or harder?
This summarizes last week's class lesson in totality. This is a hacking question. Every move you make, every discussion you engage in, every argument you engage in, every conflict you have, ask yourself a simple question. Is this going to make my life easier or harder? I promise you. You ever just heard somebody say, it's like I'm always going through shit. Shit always happens to me. You know what they just admitted to you? They make horrible decisions. That's what they just admitted to you. They don't see that they're making horrible decisions every day. Some of them are really, really small bad decisions, back to back, compounded bad decisions. And then when the shit comes rolling down the hill, you can't understand why you covered in shit. I don't understand this. This is ridiculous. And you feel like the gods are working against me. Racism, something is destroying you. No, it's because you're not present enough to realize that when you're having points, or you're making decisions, or you're having touch points with other people, you're not aware that you're creating decisions or behaviors that is making life harder for you. If you ask yourself that every day, like go back and analyze your day, like have a moment of reflection. And in your introspection, as you go through your introspection, ask yourself, today when this happened and I responded like this, did I make life harder or did I make it easier? And I promise you, if you get this easy part down, life gets way, way the hell better. Because then you gain back time and energy and resources to actually work on stuff. You know, a lot of people are brilliant, but they never have enough time to work on the shit they really want to work on because they made all these hard decisions that they have to constantly have to fix, that they have no time to work on the shit they really want to work on. Like, this is a cold ass hacking line that no matter where you are in life, keep asking if you're sitting in a conversation and you just going along with the conversation, and then you walk away like that's 10 to 15 minutes, you just shooting the shit, but you didn't really say anything. You just kind of want to make people feel comfortable because remember, you want to belong. Remember, that's one of the traits, right? So you're trying to belong. You're just in a circle. That's funny. And ask yourself, when you leave that circle, did I carry myself in a way that made my life easier or harder? If I go back to that circle and say, hey, y'all, I got a business idea. You guys want to follow me? And they go, who, you? That means something you did in that moment made your life harder. Sometimes make your life harder. Remember that the pleasure and pain negotiation that he talked about last week? You have to, instead of you being a victim of pleasure and pain, you need to own the process of pleasure and pain. Sometimes you have to accept the pain to invest in the future pleasure. But often you're so busy seeking pleasure all the time, you're out of balance. I had a hard week this week. What the fuck does that mean? But you stood up and went to the refrigerator. That's crazy to me. Now, if you tell me I can't get to the refrigerator, I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe you need to lay down. But if you said I had a hard day and you don't walk to the refrigerator 4 or 5 times, bro, you could have went to that damn gym 4 or 5 times. But in your mind, you'll say I had a hard day, and then you amplify it so much, or I had a hard day, I ain't had time to work on shit. But you could tell me what happened in that basketball game against the Lakers, against the Celtics. How the fuck is that possible? I used to say back in the days when I was meaner, grow the fuck up. But I must be a little nicer. Please grow up. That's all I got. That's all I got. Look, you know, I'm on this new eating habits where I reduce sugar. So I only allowed to have sugar that like fruit, if it comes with the fruit, but I can't remove the sugar from the fruit. If I remove the sugar from the fruit, I can't have it. If the fiber and the sugar has to have a balance, right? If it's too much sugar, and even with the sugar that comes in food, I can't go over 26 grams a day, right? For the first time, water tastes amazing to me. My taste buds were so dead that water used to taste like a punishment. Like you can't have no juice, drink some damn water, right? And so my taste buds would just cry every time. Then after I started to get used to clean eating, so I'm eating a lot of vegetables to the week. I'm eating clean meats to the week. I'm eating clean carbs to the week. A lot of fiber. Damn, a lot of fiber. I used to think it was just for, like old people. I started eating fiber. I was like, what does this mean? But it's really because the fiber protects your intestines from taking all that sugar in. So the 26 gram is reduced by the fiber. Then you realize that bad eating is just an old story that just continues to move forward and no one ever challenges that story. It's a story. Bad eating is really a story. It's a comfort zone for you. And a lot of times you never sit down and go, let me test it. Let me try it. Let me try to do something different. Because a lot of times I remember I told somebody about starting their diet and it's like, yeah, but man, I really love this. And I just spent some money on, you see how the story just starts to compound to a point that they don't give this stuff a new opportunity? We do the same thing in our personal life when it comes to this business stuff. Some people come in this class and they're looking for a magic trick. For me to say one word, they run and be like, Eureka, he told me how to make all the money in the world. I'm going to say that. If you don't sit your lazy ass down, it doesn't work that way. It's really this negotiation of every day. I know so many people sat in my class and could almost teach this class, but their pocketbooks say they have no right to be in front of this class. And one of the reasons for that is because they won't give up pleasure. They're just seeking pleasure. They think pleasure is going to fix them psychologically. It doesn't. A lot of your psychological challenges comes from the pressure, from the pain. Like, I grew up really, really poor. So when shit goes down in front of me, I shrug my shoulders more than the average person. I can cut a person loose instead of sitting there going, why? Whatever happened to us just Johnny? Why? Hey, he want to go a different direction. Let's move forward. Where did that come from? The pressure made me this way. And I also can touch my daughter's hand and have the biggest emotional moment I've ever had in my life. I also can I can just sit somewhere and just watch human beings talk and go, God, this is amazing. But the pressure, because at one point I got to the point where I had nothing. I mean, I say nothing, I'm talking about motherfucking nothing. And all of a sudden now everything means something to me. So a lot of young folks, you coddle them so fucking much that they can't see the difference between pain and pleasure. Pain to them is, I can't have it right now. And pleasure, they'll never find it because they get everything they want. It's a cold fucking game. Next slide. All right, y'all. Shabisha, read this one, and then I'm about to turn this. I'm gonna make some of you all very uncomfortable. Today I told you guys for the next 6 months I'm going to teach a strategy. Today I'm about to destroy a lot of your basic beliefs. I'm going to destroy a lot of your spiritual talk, a lot of your religious talk. Yet spiritual talk is where this comes from, and a lot of our language is rooted in poverty, slavery, working class. Most of the world was poor as fuck before the 40s. Like, you go to the 60s, most of the world was still hella poor. Like, people think, oh, we didn't have. No, a lot of people didn't have. Like, this thing of prosperity is a very, 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 very modern thing. And so a lot of ideas are folk tales passed down that we kind of qualified, but we never sat down and asked questions, which is kind of normal for human beings because most of the shit we do, we don't understand anyway. We be very clear. Most of the stuff we do, we don't understand anyway. I challenge you, the car you're about to get into, if I gave you a test on how that car works, many of you would be like, damn, wasn't prepared for that. And that's normal for human beings. So at this point, when I was growing up, they used to say, if white folks just told us what they knew or the secrets, we could do it for ourselves. Mm-hmm. These are the secrets. They're really not the secrets, but they are the secrets. Meaning that everything you're going to learn from this point on, huh? Spoke like a true Jewish man. Anyway, go ahead. So go ahead, Shabisha.
We look not to the things that are seen, but to. Let me start again. I wasn't expecting Corinthians. Okay, run it back. I'm sorry. I was like, what the hell?
This
okay.
is Corinthians. Yes, that's right.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Okay. All right. We look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen.
Okay, stop right there. That is the line you have to cross to really develop real wealth. The things that are not seen, that are unseen. Keep going.
For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal.
These rules you're going to learn have always been here, but very few people are going to ever see them. Most people will live their whole life and never see these rules. There's people who are actually following this religion and they still follow it by the things that are seen. Like, there's so many powerful things that are unseen that are impacting your life. You have no idea. So the next 6 months, all I'm dedicating myself to is just teaching a whole bunch of unseen principles and models and values that I'm going to make them as simple as I can. But once you get them, it's almost like, when you buy a car, you say, I ain't never seen a car before, and you buy, you see it everywhere. Mm-hmm. You're going to have that experience. You're going to start hearing the language that's been around you this whole time. You're going to say, oh my God, I had no idea this has been around me this whole time. And you're going to realize that the people who are killing it and building and creating and impacting, they move in this space and they see these rules and they live by it. There's a certain degree when you're on this journey, you won't have any signs on the wall. You just got to know where to go. You got to just know where to go. And if you don't know where to go, you'll end up in the same destination with everybody else, which is hard work and dead dreams. But once you know where to go, you'll realize that you don't even get a chance to deviate because you know the cost of the deviation. But you got to know what that is. So with that being said, we're going to jump into our first concept. Next slide. Emergence. I'm going to teach a whole class on emergence. I'm going to move as aggressive as I can. This is going to disrupt so much stuff. I'm going to destroy so many ideas and principles. By the end of this class, it's going to make you guys very uncomfortable. So I'm going to give you more of let's start with the technical definition of emergence. Go ahead, Shabisha.
When we look at systems on the macro scale, they sometimes exhibit capabilities that aren't present on the macro scale. This is known as emergence, when systems as a whole function in ways we can't predict by looking at their parts.
So real quick, that's very important. So macro, micro. Macro is large scale, micro is small scale. It's saying you can look at the micro, but you won't see the macro impact. They're both going to have impact in the world. But if you're looking at the micro, you won't see the macro in its presence. So it says, so by studying the individual acts, you'll never understand the system. Can't see it. It doesn't translate like that. Keep going.
As Aristotle put it thousands of years ago, the whole is something over and above its parts, not just the sum of them all.
Mm-hmm.
The mental model of emergence reminds us that new capabilities are often produced from seemingly innocuous elements.
Okay, go next slide, because I'm going to read 3 slides before I get into it. Go ahead, next slide.
So
simplify. Go for it.
emergence is like that. It's when simple things come together to create something much more complex and interesting. Each brick or part follows simple rules, but when combined, they make something new and amazing that wasn't there before.
Mm-hmm.
For example, think about a flock of birds flying together. Each bird follows simple rules, like staying close to its neighbors and not bumping into them. But when they all follow these rules together, they create beautiful, complex patterns in the sky that look like they're dancing.
You guys ever seen that when a whole bunch of birds are flying together and it looks like they're doing all kind of cool waves and artistic movement, right? But that is not the individual bird's focus, the outcome of the bigger movement. I want you to be very clear about that. See if you go to the next slide. See if it's.
We cannot understand systems with emergent properties by reducing them to their components. Termite mounds exhibit emergent properties. A single termite is powerless, but 1 million or 2 working together can build a complex mound up to 17 feet tall, requiring the movement of a ton of soil and several tons of water each year. Without a leader orchestrating their movements, termites build ventilation and cooling systems, storage chambers, fungal gardens, and specialized housing for the queen.
So if you take that single termite and pull their brain out somewhere, and some ways able to read their brain, you realize they don't have none of that in their brain. They don't none of that. They don't see it. They ain't processing it. They ain't thinking about it. It's a result of the whole. Let me start with there's multiple angles of emergence. So let's start off with this. Legos, right? I throw a big old box of Legos in front of you. A Lego master puts the Legos together, and all of a sudden they have a structure that you're like, wow, right? So that master writes down the details of the Legos and say, you build it for yourself. If you decide at any point to reinterpret what that master built, you build something else, but you don't build that, right? So emergence is like, when you look at that box of Legos, you just see little squares, little rectangles, little triangles, little weird angles you ain't never heard of before. But when you bring them together, it may produce a full vehicle, a starship, or something that's amazing to see. But when you tear those Legos back down, you throw them back in the box, it's just a whole bunch of Legos in the box. Emergence is this idea that there is this superpower that comes from human beings when we come together that is not easily described by logic or rationality. You know, when you say, let's work together, we try to make it rational. If we come together, we can do this, and then we can exchange this, and then we can become this. That's because we're trying to, that's not really emergence. That's kind of like a controlled interaction. There's a such thing that when you come together or you collaborate or you build something where things are interacting, if you look, for example, okay, let me slow it down. This class is emergence. You said, what do you mean? Me and Court took off on our career. And as we're going through the career, it'd be a total lie to you to say that every step was planned forward. I may move left and I saw this thing come, I moved right, and I say I'll take 3 steps forward. I crossed my 2 feet 2 times. I did 2 points to the sky, and I jumped over that fence. Boy, stop lying. What happens is that after we went through all the chaos of survival and following all these invisible rules, we look back and go, hey, we see some patterns. And we take those patterns and go, hey, here's some patterns that are common amongst other entrepreneurs, which emerge from our chaos. You see where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. You remember a long time ago, I said I had a client came to me in my early stage. She came and asked a dope question. This is about 3 years ago. She said, I said, we were only making $5,000 a month. And a client came in and said he wants a new logo. He wanted a Paisley logo. And he sat with Mashama for hours, and the logo was like $600-800. Sat with Mashama for hours. This is what I want to feel like. Mashama was thinking, there's no such thing as a personal Paisley. It's a random design. So Mashama finishes. The guy goes, cool. I don't like it. Give me my money back. And I said, here you go. I had no money. When I gave him his money back, I was back to zero in my bank account. I'm talking about 0, not the modern day 0, East Oakland 0. She said, how did you get the money back? Why'd you get the money back? Because there's a group of rules that I'm following that I can't tell you for sure they're going to work or not. But I was told if you stay within this lane here and follow these rules, it's going to pay off. And I used to tell people, like, when I'm walking down that tunnel, a financial tunnel, it's all black to me. I couldn't see no end of the tunnel. I'm just walking. I'm like, they say keep going, right? And in that process, I'm making certain moves and I have certain values and certain principles, certain ideas. And there's certain things my mentor would teach me that I would say, okay, I want to do this, but I should do it this way. And I want to go here, but I need to be over here. And I would stick with the things that the people who were in front of me told me to do. And all of a sudden, I emerged. So then I look back at my life and go, oh, that did mean something. Oh, that was a principle there. So when we teach this class, it's really entrepreneurs. This is why I can't stand when somebody teaches you who's not an entrepreneur. They haven't been through the journey. So they can't really see if what they're teaching is valid or not. But because we've been through the journey, we're able to say, oh, yeah, that's true. Or, nah, because it could be like this, it could be like that. Or, like, for example, somebody says, there's 7 steps to building this. As somebody who's been down this journey, we would say that's not possibly true. Those 7 steps will never be the same because the variances of businesses and because of competition, because of competition, we can't copy and paste each other. So we have to have variations. And because we have variations, that means that 7 steps suggest that we can all do the exact same thing. That's not possible. It's not possible. But if I didn't take that journey and look back, and through looking back at my journey, I start to see patterns, and those patterns are forms of emergence. Now, next thing. There's such thing as weak emergence and strong emergence. Weak emergence is what this class is. Weak emergence is when you can look at it, identify it, define it. Strong emergence, you can't. There's not a computer that can run a module that can understand a complex emergence. The cells of your brain are emerging outcomes that the computers can't figure out. There's levels of, guys, stay with it because once we get to close to the end, you're going to see how cold this shit is. There's levels of things that happen around you every day that you cannot define through your rational mind that will emerge outcomes that you could see that emerges when it happens, but you won't see it when it's unfolding. That's the real world you live in. This world is not... People who walk around who think that because they know a lot, they can understand this world are absolute fools. Your knowledge should increase your curiosity and improve your antennas, but you still remain ignorant by default. Because there's things emerging around you every day. I think it was the professor from Stanford who said, when people say, that's never happened before, he says that things that never happened before happens all the time. The universe will emerge things that have never happened before all the time based upon the nature of emergence. Now, a nuclear factory with all its parts is not considered emergence because those parts work the way they're supposed to as a connector, like an engine. They do what they do, even though it's multiple parts. Emergence is when multiple diverse parts come into collaboration and produce things that are outside his imagination. Keep going to we. So go to we can see.
We can see emergence in protests, where groups of people with little power can end up having a tremendous influence. Protests can also have unexpected results that organizers and participants never planned.
If you're running a company, and let's say Kaja is Miss Attitude, and she walks into the company, she gave me attitude like, you need to find somebody else. She gave me attitude by calling Miss Attitude. You cold. But let's say she has attitude, and her behavior becomes contagious. Her behavior has the possibilities to emerge into a behavior that can be damaging and cause an effective to your company. So if you catch that behavior, it's more effective to address it early than to, I ain't talking about, don't address it the first incident. But once you recognize a pattern, all patterns inside your company needs to be addressed before the pattern is too large for you to address. Okay, pass the microphone.
So I'm trying to follow emergence. So can emergence equate cancer? So because you say you have to nip it in the bud, right? If not maybe the immediate, because I'm still attempting to wrap my brain around emergence. I'm listening to everything else. But so when you not you personally,
could the body respond with cancer to emergence?
No. So my question is, could a cancer be emergence? And so you have to cut it out of the body, whether that be a business or your physical body. I'm really attempting to wrap my mind around emergence. I'm not trying to slow anything down. I'm just.
No, that wouldn't be emergence. But I hear you going. I going with that.
Okay.
And trust me, I know that I should have you guys kind of stuck between a. I should be removing the foundation underneath your feet, so it's starting to get a little bit unstable. I'm gonna get you there. Okay. Just hang with me for a second.
Thank you, sir.
When a protest happens, it can start very, very simple, right? Let's say you start a protest in public, or you start any movement in public. What happens to people who start movements in public all the time? They have unintended consequences. They didn't plan for it. That's the emergence. It's the things you don't plan for. You can say, we're going to get out tomorrow, we're going to march, we're going to go down the street, we're going to hold on these sticks, we're going to say this, we're going to stand in front of these people. And next thing you know, they're running into the White House and tearing shit up. You're like, I didn't plan that. That's emergence. Things will happen things will be produced that are greater than your thoughts, your idea, your linear perception. There are things that will produce, when you bring a group of things together and they start moving in a certain kind of way, all kind of stuff can happen that emerge that you would never, ever, 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 ever anticipate, right? Next slide. Now, so I'm giving you guys I could make this really technical, but I'm giving you guys the surface so we can get to the part that is so cold. Keep going. Cultural emergence. Go ahead.
Knowledge sharing can often produce unexpected results.
So real quick, did you hear what she just said? Knowledge sharing can produce unexpected results. Keep going.
We start to work together. I bring an understanding of X, and you contribute experience with Y.
Mm-hmm.
Combining our knowledge means we have X and Y covered, but sometimes we are also able to create Z.
So meaning that two people come together, let's say Master Fromm is a master in fight arts, right? And let's say I'm mastering psychology, but we come together and produce a whole new industry that is totally relevant to both of us, that neither one of us could have ever saw. Okay, keep going.
Using the lens of emergence, we can look at learning in humans and highlight that social interaction matters as much as, if not more than, individual smarts if we want to ramp up innovation.
So, okay, say this again. Read that. Okay, hear what you just said. It just said, I just want to interpret it so you don't have to read it again because that's a long ass sentence. It's saying social interaction is more important than individual smarts.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to what keyword? Innovation. Okay, let me explain to y'all how powerful innovation is, because maybe y'all hear the word innovation is kind of like smoothed over a little bit too much. Apple, Elon Musk are innovators. Well, Elon Musk is a little bit inventor. Apple's an innovator. NVIDIA, innovator. Any major corporation in this world that's killing the game, who's changing the world, built their foundation on innovation. Invention is the creation of something new. Innovating is the improvement on something that's already exists. Black people, you're not going to become groundbreaking changers by servicing other innovators. At some point, you're going to have to innovate to play this game. The billion and $1 trillion game is not based upon hard work and service. It's based upon innovation. Innovation takes an industry that will make maybe maximum $1 million a year to becoming a multi-billion-dollar company overnight. Innovation. Now let's unlock that sentence. It says, we can look at learning in humans and highlight that social interaction matters as much as, if not more, than individual smarts. Okay, black people, go back to what Core said about individualism. I want you to see how this is directly tied to your ability to innovate. Isolation means it is almost a economic cap on your growth. I would even say it's okay, so when you first start a company, I want y'all to stay with me because this shit is so cold. And once you get it, you're like, fuck, this is really important. If you're running a company, you don't do the same thing for the next 20 years. It's going to evolve because competition is going to smother. Every company dies. Parts of it dies. A company is birthing and dying, right? If you try to just hold on to that certain idea, that's your kind of the distortion trying to keep something dumb alive. It's going to die. At one point, if you told somebody in 1970, Sears is not going to be here forever, they'd be like, come on, bro. Mm-hmm. Amazon and Google will not be here forever. Unless, and this is what you pay attention to the way these .coms are running the company, they're constantly buying into new innovations every day. They're not running like pistons. They're literally going, oh, you got a new idea? Can we buy you? All right, let's put a portion of our team, let's invest in that new idea. Right? So when you start a business and you're small, you don't have that kind of money. But I can promise you, if you start off, let's say you start off making makeup, don't be surprised that 10 years from now, you're building hospitals. It can evolve just like that, right? Meaning that if you are in isolation, you're not even innovating within your own company, meaning that your company is you're accelerating the death of your company. Isolation is guaranteed. Why do you think there's so many white organizations who are performing at high levels and they belong to groups and they sit on boards? Mm-hmm. They are doing the emergence game. Mm-hmm. And you playing the goddamn superhero on TV Marvel broke ass game. This game is not meant for, it's not made for individuals. You can't achieve a certain level. Keep going. This is going to get really, I'm just about to get cold. Keep going.
As a species, we can do more than any one human brain is capable of because of cultural learning.
This is going to get so cold.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel each generation. We have evolved social networks that allow us to learn from our elders and to pass on that knowledge to our children.
Stop, freeze. So have you guys paid attention to how hip hop has made the youth the dominant educators and the elders have been pushed to the back? I want y'all to pay attention to these rhythms that are bigger than us, that's impacting our outcome. Meaning that the natural order of growth and evolution comes from people who have the experiences and the youth improving on our experiences, not the youth teaching the youth. That's going to slow your growth tremendously, right? And my Indian brothers and sisters get here not that long ago. Economically, they're the strongest group in America right now. Structure matters. It ain't about they're smarter than you. There's no such thing as a human being. There's no such thing as a race or human beings that are smarter than others. I'm going to prove that tonight. Keep going.
What is important for humans, though, is that we all don't need to know everything.
Come on. This is a shit. This is some of y'all. How many of y'all feel bad because you don't feel like you don't know everything? Or you don't know enough? Or you're not smart enough? Y'all know that we wear that around our necks. How many degrees? What do you learn? What do you know? Right? And somebody walking in there is like, yeah, I have, I'm a PhD at this. And they're like, oh my God, they so impressive. I played that game in the first beginning of my business, and I was caught up with that same type of self-measurement. And then I realized, oh, there's something greater. Keep going.
Look around, and you will see many items that you cannot build, but that you can use. Cultural learning produces products that are emergent properties of human collective organization.
Now, stay with me. Watch this. Individually, no human being would have created a cell phone. But a group can. Say it with me again. Think about that. A cell phone, an airplane. Individually, you cannot create a human being does not know how to create an airplane by itself. But emergence can. Emergence mean that as you work on a bicycle and I improve on that and then you improve on that and you improve on that and then we talk about it and then we go back to the drawing board and we make some mistakes actually. And then we go, oh, wait a minute, I think that worked. 50 years from now, we will be flying planes. Okay, let me help you out with this. If that's true, does the pyramids for black folks, you know how you say black folks built the pyramids? Was that greatness or was that rich culture? I want you to think about that. When you say, oh, white people are superior because they built this, is it greatness or is it just rich culture? Like, you know how you look at symbols historically and go, oh, they built this. That's a story they tell us all the time. Is it individual greatness, racial greatness, or culture? Stay with that for a second. Everything great in society where people sit, you guys are victims of white cultural branding and white culture storytelling. After the emergence happened, we go, okay. Yapasua, take lead. Yo, everybody, Yapasua built this. His name was Steve Jobs. He's an amazing person. No, that's called Apple emergence. Stay with me. So, okay, reverse it. Let's reverse it. You're at the beginning line of emergence. And you see Steve Jobs, you go, I can never do that. Of course you can't. But you can build something that can. Well, I don't know anything about technology. You don't need to. All you need to do is bring the right people together, build the right type of structure, and things will emerge. And here's the funny thing. You can unlock it because remember, it's not simple. Some of it's complex. That's why when you first start a business idea and it's rough and raggedy, it's okay. The most dangerous thing you can ever do is hoard that idea, lock yourself in a closet, because then an idea limitation is you. As you go out there and start talking to people, engaging with people, and collaborating with people, you'll one day find yourself in a place you never imagined. This is why a lot of times when you get there, a lot of people who are still poor can't process how did you go from changing tires on cars to building the #1 car industry of all vehicles? And you don't even have a degree. How's that possible? It's called the power of emergence. Why is it the smartest cats work for him? You ever paid attention to that? Have you guys ever met some of these dope engineers? Can you follow along what he's talking about? I can't. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. Too many words. They're too big. I never even heard that word in my community before. But then meet the CEO of the company, you realize, I can relate to everything you're saying. He built systems that created emergence. And many of you guys disrupt that system because quite often when the system is trying to emerge, you interrupt it by you trying to take leadership and control the system, which means you compromise the emergence. Now, emergence is it's a serendipity. It's like a serendipity. It's not a controlled, it's not a linear line. It's literally like you bring these things to happen, and once people start to function and flow together and they get comfortable with each other, things happen that nobody in that group could have ever predicted. But you gotta know that's a thing. This is why when Court said earlier, we talked about the world's your ally. You will learn to see more patterns of emergence if you start speaking to people that you don't like. Just talk to all kinds of people. Just talk to people every day. You're saying, that emerged this? Damn, that emerged that? And you realize, wow, I have more power in this world than I realized. But the reason I don't have as much power, I'm not seeing my power because I'm relying upon myself all the time. Greatness comes from emergence. Keep going.
Sorry, I'm going slow. Okay. In describing the role of cultural learning for humans, Joseph Heinrich, in The Secret of Our Success, explains that the striking technologies that characterize our species, from the kayaks and compound bows used by hunter-gatherers to the antibiotics and airplanes of the modern world, emerge not from singular geniuses, but from the flow and recombination of ideas, practices, lucky errors, and chance insights among interconnected minds and across generations.
So stop there real quick. So Silicon Valley, why those cats why did everybody just move to Silicon Valley? Now you see why. Mm-hmm. They would go to these cafes, these famous cafes, and they would just sit and talk. They don't go there with intent, like, okay, say something to me, they're gonna help me make some money. Talk to me, come on. I wanna learn, I wanna build my next company. No, just go hang out. And there's a rich culture there. So England tried to duplicate Silicon Valley, and they couldn't get it. Because when it emerges, it's almost a natural, organic thing that happens, right? If you have a rich culture, it emerges all these rich benefits. When you have a damaged culture, it emerges all these flawed benefits. Go ahead.
That's why anybody who says that they're self-made
No such thing.
are bullshitting you, because there is no such thing. Because what they're saying is they're blind to the fact that they're standing on top of an emergence of what other people created.
100%. 100%. That's what, when I'm around very powerful rich people, they taught me early, they would have this very deep love for culture. I used to be like, oh, it's fucking, what are you talking about? That painting, it reminds me, and I'm thinking, it's a fucking paint, it's paint. What are you talking about? I'm not giving you 10,000 for some oil and some paint. If you want paint, go to my block, right? Because I didn't have no value on culture. I didn't understand the connectivity that at all costs, you have to protect culture, otherwise you will smother your emergence. Emergence are things, okay, if I told you, hey, in 20 years, I think we can escape white supremacy, take over Africa, and be a dominant nation, you'd be like, that's not possible. Yes, you're right, to you. Emergence says it's very, very possible. 40 years ago, China was considered one of the poorest nations in the world. Go to China today, you broke. Right? Emerges, it's not some smart dude said, okay, we're gonna do this, and you're gonna go to work over here, then you wake up tomorrow morning and you're gonna, I got this shit rolling. You build a certain culture with certain ideas and certain principles, and you create certain type of communication, and you create boundaries of what we're gonna talk about when we hang out, and all of a sudden, these things emerge. But too many of us have been told this whole idea, go to college and you can emerge. No. Even college in itself is the emergence system. As you guys know, emergence is not a guarantee, right? But college produces a higher level of emergence because why? You go there to have certain kind of conversations. So it's going to produce a certain amount of great people who will have and those great people are going to talk to other people that went to school with them, and they're going to collaborate and stay in that group. And because of that group, they produce these amazing things called Stanford. And y'all think college is about the grades. Isn't that some cold shit you've been told? Your grades don't matter, baby. Now, you got to have a certain level of grades to stay in the circle. You know, if you got all else, they might just kick you out the circle. But what made you great was not the grades. It was the group. Emergence is this super, 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 super powerful thing. Keep going.
Basically, humans create things as a group that no one person is capable of.
So even if all the members of the team is average, you could produce something that's greater than Einstein could have created by himself. with all average people. You don't need a whole bunch of sign. You can have a dumb person, a smart person, a funny person, a hardworking person, and they keep talking. They can produce some shit that even the greatest mind in this room couldn't even come close to touching. And as you isolate yourself, I don't like this person. I can't stand. I just can't be around people right now, especially these Negroes out here. I just can't. I hate my job. That's because you're stuck. Because you don't understand the value of the people around you. Keep going.
Furthermore, as cultural learning gets passed from generation
to generation. Real quick. Generation to generation. Cultural learning comes from generational. It's not everything you know. Nobody in this room is a blank slate. When you're born with data. That data comes from your culture. Mm-hmm. So what happens when your culture was a victim of slavery and Jim Crow and crack for hella years? Have you deteriorated your culture? Have you deteriorated your first data? So you come in the world with a 1997 computer, and she comes in the world because if Fern was white, she comes in the world with a 2023 computer, and you wonder why you can't process at the same level. This is why it's so important to build subgroups to start to bring our processing skills and our computing skills to another level. Otherwise, if we just hang out in the community and keep having conversations, you realize you are downloading data. And you're using a slow processing system to compete in a fast world. The world ain't racist. You just been set back. The damage was done 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s. Keep going. They can all be like, you know what? We're not doing this no more. We're good. We're not gonna pressure you no more. Cool. Do what you want to do. Sorry for the past. My bad. Just move forward. And when you take off and pull yourself up by the boots, you realize you got boots from the 30s. Your feet hurt. They got these fancy tennis shoes and they just smoking you every time. You're like, what the hell? And you don't realize that generational evolution has to be protected for the health of the group. If you want to compete, look, the goal of black people is not to conquer other people and be like, oh, we want to destroy other people. Don't waste our time. Let's waste our conversation. It's so we can participate in this human experience. We don't want to be nobody's slaves. We don't want somebody to give us nothing. We want to be able to participate. We want to set the table of power and make choices and invest in the future of our community to participate in the human experience. Meaning we bring adventures into the world that makes the world totally different. We benefit from those adventures. Our children benefit from those. Our children gain security. They gain optionality. They gain choices because of the way we show up. How can you even begin to compete in the world when your data is been suppressed for so many years? You can, but you're gonna have to make it. You're gonna have to make that a thing. You can't just say, I'm just gonna hang out every day, talk to people every day, and I'm gonna be cool. Sorry, black people, it don't work like that. Your data's been suppressed. Because generational learning is a thing. It's more important than the goddamn college you're going to. Let me say this again. Generational learning is more important than the goddamn college you're going to. And yet we want to talk about college. You will sit your ass at Stanford and your generational learning will suppress what you hear. Mm-hmm. This is why culture matters. Don't let anybody ever tell you again culture does. Culture fucking matters to your progress because it has impact on how you're processing the world, seeing the world, moving through the world, and how you're emerging outcomes from the world. Keep going.
Our cultural learning abilities give rise to dumb processes.
Dumb processes too.
That can, operating over generations, produce practices that are smarter than any individual or group.
So even dumb ideas can evolve to smart ideas if you have a healthy culture. Dumb ideas can evolve to smart ideas if you have a healthy cultural practices. The other day I was walking, they said, the Indian culture is progressing and they're the number one economic group in America right now. So I was going to go run the track and they had some Indian event and I was watching those kids being trained on how to dance to cultural music and how to go through their rituals. And I'm watching them how they have this linear line of elders, mid-age and youth and how you saw how it was operating. And I was sitting there in absolute amazement. They didn't see me, sometimes they just won't pay attention to nobody besides himself. And that was fortunate for me because I got a chance to just watch them over and over and over. And I said to myself, damn, that's culture's rich. Today, black people, we don't even want to sit together. We don't even have barbecues no more because their family might show up. Like that, the attack upon our culture is attack upon our money, our resources, our innovation. Because if our culture is damaged, that means we're not innovating. We're not innovating. That means we're asking for jobs. Hit another time, please. The purple one. Yeah, thank you. That'd have been all bad. But the reality is that a lot of us are in a situation where we don't realize cultural deterioration is not just moral deterioration, it's economic deterioration. Go ahead.
This is just hurting my feelings. I ain't even gonna lie. All right, so when I had my daughter, I decided that I was gonna be the person that was gonna do things different in my family. And I'm constantly trying to increase my positioning so that I can help my family increase their positioning because there's not a lot of doers in my family. And so when people do come out the ground that aren't weeds, I'm always trying to reach back and pull them up, right? Because you can't save somebody that doesn't want to save themselves. And hearing this conversation is challenging because I know I have a hero's complex, which I fight every day because it doesn't help me to hero somebody. They have to want it for themselves. In the same vein, I would say 70% of my family is just with the shit and they're not savable. And as somebody that's trying to be a leader in my family, it's hard for me to figure out how do I position myself to help the most amount of people without becoming victimized by the ones that...
So the premise of your story, the premise of your conversation is still you about you.
Okay.
It's the group you join produces the results you look for.
But what happens when the group that you're trying to serve is not aggressively trying to serve themselves? It's kind of like somebody has to take the first step to be able to
No,
guide.
that's hero. That's heroism. No. Okay. You're my family, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Shabisha's my sister, right? Right? Ayana's my sister. I can keep going, right? Of course, my brother, right? I built my family. Bester Fran's my brother. Yapasu is my brother. Josiah is my nephew. He eat too much. He's one of the ones I get nervous about. That's nephew right there. Goose, i.e. Snoop Dogg. That's my nephew too, right? That's my little niece right there, right? Jazzy, right? You build family. You build family. And then when you build family, realize family is a responsibility, not a privilege. If you're not investing in family, you have no family. Family is an investment. Look, when I had my daughter, that didn't mean I got more time. That means that time was about to be gone. That means resources got to go. My wife made me some fried chicken the other day. I'm just share this real quick. And then she pulled it out the grease and set it right in front of me. Yes, Lord. My daughter walked up out of the blue and said, "Yep." And looked at me like, "What?" And then sat down. I said, "Babe," she said, "she don't know you yet." Took it, and then as I'm eating, she came back and she says, "Well, I do know another one." What are you doing? Right? Family is an investment. Some of y'all want to benefit from family. When I was growing up, if mama got to clean the house, we all got to clean the house.
Yeah.
Now mama gets up and clean the house and y'all playing video games. Mama will say, "Oh my God, the trash needs to be taken out," and y'all act like your hearing just went out again.
Bullshit.
Or if mama's cooking, men, what are you doing? Right? If cousin goes to play a sport, how many of y'all go to watch cousin go play that sport? It's a host of responsibilities that some of y'all got to the point where you think, and even in this group, if you want to be part of this group, and I catch you let's say a man came in this group and he saw Tenille and he just chased Tenille the whole time. yo, why you here, bro? I'm gonna pull you to the side. Like, yo, I'm not, if she was single and you can date her, that's one thing. But if you just in here just trying to knock them off, yo, you gotta go, bro. Or if you here talking about, hey, Kaja, can you just loan me a couple dollars? I promise I'll get back to you. Okay. And then Shakina, Kaja only loan me 20. Can you give me about 10 more? You gotta go. Because the group requires, we're always in. So when you build a group, it's a reciprocal investment type system where you're investing and you're getting returns. You're investing in your returns. If you're not getting returns, you're probably symbolically calling it family, but you ain't doing shit. Look, if a family member invests hard, I got a nephew, Little Mir. He comes around, his ass, well, if you need some help around the house, you need some help? What's up? What do you need some help at? Or even Layla, my niece, god niece, she'd come in the house, she'd grab a broom and start sweeping. Like, what are you doing? She's like, well, let me just help out real quick. If Layla turns to me tomorrow and says, hey, I need this, it's an honor to show up for her. Now, my son by marriage, because I'm going to call it like that for what it is, he can't get $20 out of me. You can't get shit out of me. Because he don't invest. I don't invest in you either. I'm good. Bye. Oh, it's messed up. My family's not there for me. No, the family is not. It's not a something you just pool resources somehow replenishes itself. It is strong by our engagement, by our investment, by the rules. Family has rules. You don't get to come in the household and do what you want. When I went to Africa to visit the family in Africa, the first question I asked was, what are all the rules? How do I walk in the house? Who do I talk to first? Who do I have to bring a gift to? Who do I have to sit down with? What's my responsibility? What's my chore? So when I showed up and I'm hitting all my points, they're like, well, how do you know all this? Because I knew that's the rules of family. I don't give a shit where I'm at. Some of y'all go in the family, open a refrigerator, ain't never put nothing in the refrigerator. Are you lost your goddamn mind? It's called family. It's a beautiful thing, but it requires an investment. Next slide. This is gonna get a little bit more. We're gonna go a little bit further. Keep going. Okay. Yeah, here you go. Go ahead. Now, this key word, before we get into this one, culture has a mind. So let's go. Let me bring it even closer, because I told you I want to bring it closer so you can own this. A culture has a mind. And if something is attacking your cultural mind, it's attacking you. Okay, let's go back to those termites. Termites build this 15-foot thing with air cooling, food, supply, storage, and you come along and you just remove the storage, but you don't hurt the termites. You destroy their survival, right? Mm-hmm. When something is generating damage to your culture, it's generating damage to you, and it's generating damage to your economics. It's stopping you from innovating, and it's destroying your ability to compete in the world, and it's almost positioning you to be a victim in the future. If you want to be a person that's struggling with poverty and don't have that many choices, let your culture continue to be destroyed. Culture is a must. Go to some place like Black Hawk. Go someplace where, like Walnut Creek. They have cultural rules that are very, very rich. Bring your little car out there and try to work on it in front of the house. Drive down the street, try to throw some trash out the window and see if they don't bring together, they don't have then the mayor come talk to you. Culture matters. You so free, you broke. You so free. Nobody can tell me I do what I want. You broke. Culture is everything. This whole time you thought culture was this nice, warm, fuzzy thing you put around you when you cold. No, culture is a bloodline to your survival. Because from culture, things emerge. Think about, even Amazon was an emergence. Pure emergence, right? It wasn't like he sat down and had a master plan. That's why people say, I wrote up a plan, I used to laugh at you, because business is an act of emergence. A lot of things will happen. When I started 510 Media, we were doing photography and flyers. I was shooting pretty women and Mashama was designing flyers. That's all I was doing. Now we're doing behavior science branding, including with using evolution science and system science. How the fuck you go from flyers to sitting down, having discussions and strategies? People pay us to sit in a room and just work on strategy. I mean, I ain't do shit. I just started selling my camera equipment because I don't shoot no more. That's called emergence. Shakina, if she emerges correctly, I don't know what she'll become. I have no idea, but she probably won't be this. But if she don't emerge, she's gonna die. It's that simple. It doesn't matter. Master Fromm, master, like, hey, if I ever throw anything to him, it's because I want him to catch it, not because I want him to get hit. He's been serving the black community for quite some time, teaching martial arts in the black community in the hood. In the hood, and gains respect from everybody. But if he stays that same system, 20 years from now, he'll be talking about the good old days. He's dead. You have to allow the emerging system to work. And if you're not feeding the emerging system, it won't come into existence. Five Team Media is not Nana. Five Team Media, yeah, my name's on the brand. Five Team Media is everybody that's in that building that buys into this certain ways of thinking, the idea. We have a thing called cultural mind at Five Team Media. Mm-hmm. If you talk to me, you talk to Shabisha, you talk to Scott, you talk to Danielle, you even talk to Josh, talk to Jasadi, anybody that's been in our circle, that's been in my system, we think a certain way to have a certain outcome. Our Tanil, hardest thing was, what the hell are y'all doing? What's this in y'all mind? What y'all thinking about? When everybody else does A, why the fuck y'all do C? Explain to me why C is a thing now. Then she starts to get you, oh, it's a cultural mind, right? The cultural mind makes Five Team Media great, not Nana, not Mashama. But if it gets to a point it's about me or Mashama, we're killing the company slowly. You see where I'm going with this? So cultural mind, watch this. Let's go. Let's jump into it. Let's go.
Cultural learning has produced a cultural mind.
So cultural learning, key thing is this. As your culture learns, it creates its own mind. So black culture is a thing, and it has its own mind. Keep going.
An emergent property allowing human knowledge to be far beyond the scope of any individual.
So the knowledge of the group is always going to be greater than the individuals in the group. I don't care how smart you are in a group. The group's knowledge, this is, okay, here's another thing that you will never see. A lot of times when people are trying to make complex decisions, they will watch what the group does and say that's the truth as opposed to what I know. Because quite often the group will make a better decision than the individual. By default. Just by default. I'm not talking about, they don't even know they're doing it. Like if you just watch, a lot of times if you watch a group make a decision and an individual make a decision, it's sometimes better to invest in the group's decision over the individual's wisdom and knowledge because a group owns a level of knowledge the individual can't see. Is that cold? Huh? Is that cold? Like literally the group has a level of awareness. That's why groups can survive things that individuals can't survive. Groups can pull through things where you're like, they're doomed. And also you're like, they made it? Mm-hmm. Right? If they're doomed and they really died, that means the group was very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. But a healthy group can find their ways. Think about COVID. Think how fast that fucking vaccine was created. That's a thing. That's called emergence. That's not like, oh, how in the hell? That's a trick. No, it's not spiritual. It's not the gods. It's not the, in the back room we always had it and he's like, we got, emergence will move in a way that feels like the gods created it. Once again, when you look at the seven wonders of the world, I see seven emergence. You see miracles. Meaning that every time a race try to claim greatness, oh, we built the Great Wall. That's emergence, bro. We built the pyramids. That's emergence. We built all these stones. That's called emergence. Meaning that, yes, individually I can't figure it out. But if I built a group and that's all we worked on, we would figure that shit out. If not, even innovate and make it better. Oh, I don't believe we went to the moon. Yeah, you would have never went to the moon. I would have never went to the moon. Of course, a mean-ass dude, he still ain't gonna get to the moon. But as a team, so when I meet a lot of great people, like when I'm working with a large organization and I meet the leaders, and a lot of times when we're working on a problem, the first thing I say to them is that I'm sitting in a room with people who could put somebody on the moon, and yet you're stuck at this problem. That's actually accurate. Because from that group and that diversity, so in order for, it's also, emergence, one of the properties of emergence is diversity. Not diversity like that shit you see on TV or on the internet. Diversity means that there's so many different personalities in the room and different characters that when they come together, they produce something that's greater than the individuals in that group. Emergence. Keep going. Humans. No, go back. Humans are generally okay with proven sites and those around us. Furthermore, we find it natural to learn from others. Okay, so let me explain this. Read that bottom paragraph real quick.
Starting at thus.
Humans
are generally very good at sharing our improvements and insights with those around us.
So in your basic conversation by being in a group, that's the property of the emergence, right? So as we just share our ideas and we just talk about certain things, keep going.
Furthermore, we find it natural to learn from other people.
So we're learning. So even when you're learning from other people, right? So like, for example, what made Michael Jordan so great is he didn't do anything new. He was an imperfection of the person he learned from before. Let me say this again. What made Michael Jordan great was he was an imperfection of the person he learned from before. Our socialization makes us superpowers. If human beings didn't have socialization, we would not. Homo sapien would not be here today if we didn't socialize. Socialization is our superpower. So when we're talking, just regular talking, you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm gonna go home and try that. And as you work on something I did and it's imperfect, it's actually better. Right? A lot of times you think perfection is becoming better. Sometimes it's just, I did it my way because I really couldn't do it your way. Oh my God, everybody loves that way. And then somebody comes along there and go, well, what if you took it and did this with it? Invention. You see how innovation and invention, remember you asked that question a long time ago, Fern, how do you drive innovation? Socialization. Through natural flaws of communication, not perfect, not trying to talk like we're scholars. Natural flaws of interaction produce things we can't imagine. Keep going.
Thus, although innovating is important in terms of adaptability and survival, what makes humans unique is our social networks that encourage the sharing and uptake of innovation.
So remember when I first started, Shakina was around, I used to say, stop holding your ideas to yourself. Just go talk about them. Because in talking about them, you improve them. Even if somebody says, I'm going to steal it from you, if you so weak that you quit, then you wasn't meant to be in this game anyway. You were supposed to die off. And the person who took it and ran with it, they was meant to go that way. But if you were meant to own that idea, as that person attempts to take your idea, you improve on your idea, which means it gets you ready for the market. You see where I'm going with this? You play so much defense, you're destroying the emergence by hiding and hoarding the idea. You're stopping the idea from evolving properly.
I was watching the Steve Jobs, I guess his annual meeting with his employees, and he had recently bought a company to use their technology to add to his Mac. And I guess representative or ex-employee of the old company stood up and said, hey, you fucked up our old company. You bought our company to only use a tiny % of it. Like you're basically a piece of shit. And he said, in a hella nice way, like, my job is not to be right and use all your technology. Our job is to understand what the customer needs and wants and give that to them first and work backwards from what they want, not to play the hero game and make you happy by using all the tech.
That's emergent.
That's emergent.
That's emergent because natural interaction, things happen, and if you're moving forward and you're just hanging out. If everybody in this room is trying to move forward and we're always just talking, then some of us will start popping. All of a sudden, certain ideas, certain growths will start popping, certain innovations will start popping. All of a sudden, and because it's part of our culture, remember we talked about the word was accountability, how you carry yourself, right? The group is also molding that. It's getting you ready to even hold that position when that opportunity lands on your lap, because the group is priming you the whole time. It's naturally happening. And it happens from like, if I do this, I'm gonna be embarrassed. Or if I do this, they're not gonna accept that. Or that's just not okay. Like if you ever went to an old school country club, there was hella rules. You didn't go to a country club and just be like, yo, what's up? I'm in this house. You ain't got the right shoes on, right shirt, right, you gotta leave. What? Go ahead, Scott.
Golf club.
Pass the microphone.
I went to the golf club on the Presidio one time with a friend of mine. If you wear a hat in the bar, you have to buy everybody in the bar a drink.
That's it. It's rules. And once you bake into that culture, the benefits are beyond you. This is why white men didn't want you at their country club.
Sorry.
And the reason they want you is because they had a culture that they was trying to produce something to compete. They realized integrating that culture is integrating their innovation. We gotta. That's why the white boys in Silicon Valley, they know what they're doing. Diversity. I give you some jobs. Cool. All right, wait, cool. But in this circle here, if you don't think like this, I don't need you here, bro. You can talk all that rock and roll freedom and do what you want to do over there. Go to Oakland with that shit, or San Francisco where shit's going crazy. But over here, this is what we talking about. We got billions and trillions on the table. We ain't got no hundreds and thousands of dollars. We ain't nobody FBI running my goddamn house. I buy them motherfuckers. What you talking about? Mm-hmm. This is culture. It's a whole different way of moving. We policing. We're holding each other accountable. We have standards. We're challenging each other in jousting. But as we challenge each other, we go. Remember, I told you that my reading an hour and a half a day came from my video game partner, who I used to hang out with, and we're just talking shit. And he's like, "Yo, I go to his house and hang out and go pick him up." His wife's like, his girl's like, "Nah, you can't. He's not coming out right now." What do you mean he's not coming out? He's studying. What the fuck you mean he's studying? Yeah, every day he stays an hour and a half, and nobody can disturb him. All doors closed. Don't mess with him. Sent my ass back home. That's when, I didn't have no car. That's a walk. So I'm walking home processing this. What the hell? It's supposed to be, I walked all the way over and this girl gonna just stop me at the door. What kind of soft ass shit is this? But that was my interpretation. Later on I realized this man lives in Black Hawk today. That same dude. Right? House is fat as hell. Right? He doesn't, every time they hire him, his base salary is like $5 million a year. And he's from New York hood. Puerto Rican carrying guns while he went to Cal Berkeley. But the hour and a half study, the mergers of us hanging out, I got something from that allowed me to build 510 Media. The same habits allowed me to build this over here. Mm-hmm. The people I hang around freaking matters. Because the culture is shaping the way I'm seeing the world. Just like if you say, that's not right. That comes from the culture. That's not a thing. Even when he said earlier, that's just a story you're telling yourself. That's a cultural thing that's downloaded to you. So if you want to change how you're responding to different energy that's coming across you, it's based upon the group you're hanging out with. One group will say that energy is a sign for learning. Another group will say that energy is attack. So you have to plan your group. Individualism, you about to be broke for a long ass time with a whole bunch of philosophy. Keep going. Okay, next slide. Watch this.
Henrik also makes the point that cultural evolution is often much smarter than we are.
What did he say? Culture what was much smarter than us?
Cultural evolution.
Keep going. This is so cold. Keep going.
It is part of the natural selection process. No one guides cultural learning.
No one controls cultural learning. You keep culture healthy and it guides itself. That's all your job you have with culture. You don't control the culture. You don't Martin Luther King the shit. It's going to keep doing its thing. Okay, watch this. I'm a very macho male. So if I was raising a young man right now, I'd be like, yo, you need to be a man. What about if he grows up and the standard of men is wearing dress and lipstick? But he's still men. That's not in my data sheet. Doesn't mean it's not in the future data sheet. But culture will adjust to that. You might say, every old generation will say, ain't no way in the world going to survive that. And that becomes a new thing. Okay. Imagine you being born in the 40s and it's 1970, you're 30s. No, you were born in the 30s. And you're 40-something years of age, you go to a concert and this dude comes out in a trench coat and some panties and start playing the guitar. You'd be like, this is abominable. The hell with life. We're all going to hell. This dude got on some lipstick and makeup, and he becomes Prince.
That's my guy.
And the next generation normalizes it. One thing a culture can do is it can adapt. When you're so busy trying to be rigid, go back to adapt versus strong versus adaptability versus strong. Which one's weaker? The strong. Which one's stronger? The adaptable. Culture can adapt. The individuals can't. Culture has so many benefits that you cannot see, so many powers you cannot see, that when you treat it at the lowest level, it will also emerge the opposite. Keep going.
Henrik also makes the point that cultural evolution is often much smarter than we are. It is part of the natural selection process. No one guides cultural learning. It's not prescribed. There is no authority setting out what we will learn every generation. And
So real quick, I'm doing this so black people could do this in the future. There's no such thing. It's crazy. Black people will adapt and they will become what that era that is, whatever strength that is to need to survive for the future. That's what it's going to become. It's not your definition of what you got from Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, and let's go on, right? They can't. There was no AI and social media back then. A lot of shit's already outgone. So culture, black people will be whatever that is, contributing to their existence based upon the challenges in front of them, not this rigid definition of this is what the future is. It's just crazy. Keep going.
And for most of what we do, we have no idea why it works.
Once again, most of everything you do in this world, you have no idea why it works. A lot of things you just downloaded, accepted it. It's an assumption, but you can't. Like the young men back here, they might say, "Well, we young, we don't know how that works." Young men, let me give you something. A lot of these old motherfuckers don't know how to work either, and you never gonna learn. Some of these stuff you don't have enough time to know this much. Do you realize how much knowledge you don't have access to? You don't have access to 99.99999% of the world with all your years of learning. If you learn every day, 10 hours a day, you might get one of those nines off the 0.9 knocked off. But 99% of the world you won't have access to, and still you somehow as a human being, you navigate this. That's amazing. Just think about that. If you don't have access to, you don't have knowledge of 99% of the world, and you're still able to navigate, then how are you navigating? This is when the culture's carrying much more wealth of knowledge than the individual's carrying. This is just crazy. Keep going.
Henrik explains how cultural learning has put selection pressures on humans, changing both our bodies and our instincts.
So, by the way, culture can change the way your body's designed. You don't believe me? Look at black folks in the 70s. I'm really go to a secondhand store that still has clothes from black folks in the 70s, and the small is considered extra large almost. More black people were super small in clothing than we are today. We're way bigger human beings because culturally we have adjusted. It's not good or bad, it just is. And once you understand that, then you understand the value of why culture has to be protected, why it has to be invested in, why there's a value in culture, and anything that's attacking culture is an attack on the future of your race. Keep going.
Thus, we start out in life not as a total blank slate,
Nobody is.
but with a huge amount of cumulative cultural evolution behind us.
Next slide.
When explaining the power of cultural learning, Henrik says the first thing to realize is that you are much smarter than you would otherwise be because you've tapped into and downloaded an immense repository of mental apps from a vast pool of culturally inherited know-how and practices.
So, you know how when you're just talking, like say me and Court just talking, right? The words we choose are historical. The context is super historical. My daughter, who's 5, when she was 2, she's downloading that whole conversation at a rate you can't even begin to imagine. And that becomes her base knowledge. So she's downloading my grandmother, my mom, my great-grandmother when I was born, and all the lessons they learned that they passed down to me. She's downloading all that information, and then all my changes, and then the world around her, and then she's bringing it together, and that's her base. Meaning that you all start off with a rich-ass base. Now, some of it's tainted because of where that base has been all this time. Slavery, Jim Crow. Remember I said back in the days, I used to say, yo, this class is going to try to untangle the impacts of slavery, Jim Crow, and the crack era on black folks. This is what I'm talking about. If we don't create a subculture that's introducing new ideas, and if we all came in this room and just sound like we was like black folks at a barbershop, because a barbershop is a rich state of culture, like a beauty shop, a barbershop. These are places where culture is very, very rich. But look at the outcome of that culture. That culture has many limitations. And it's often impacted now. And matter of fact, social media is the coldest game in the world because culture responds really, really heavily to social proofing. Meaning if a lot of people say something to you, after what you're saying, that's what everybody's saying, that's what we believe. It's like a mob effect, right? So social media has become a direct attack upon culture because they say, we as black people, we believe in this. And you'd be like, do we? I guess that's what we believe in now. And then we go to a barbershop, be like, yeah, that's what we believe in, right? And be like, yeah, that's what I believe in too. Because once again, we want to belong. And culture takes a hard shift. Is this shit cold? Keep going.
People specialize because no one can know everything.
So a lot of times people go to college, they specialize, right? Keep going. Watch this.
Then they interact. And in that system in which the interaction occurs, something happens that otherwise wouldn't. He argues that innovation does not take a genius or a village.
It doesn't take a genius or a village. It takes a village to raise a kid. No, it's bigger than that. Go ahead.
It takes a big network of freely interacting minds.
Too much control in a room destroys the richness of immersion. So you know how .com, they protect freedom? I don't know if you ever worked in .com before. They protect freedom over everything. Spending, movement, They want free. They want everybody to feel free as possible. Now, as they get bigger, they clamp. So for example, Google may not be as free as a .com that's like in the 10th, 15, 20 years established. And the reason for that is because now they're moving from a space of fear and protection, right? But in order for them to get there, there's a certain amount of freedom that allow them to have these tools, allow them to emerge. If you find a company that's producing a lot of innovation, I promise you that the employees feel a lot more free. You find a company that's dragging innovation, strong bureaucracy. Matter of fact, if you look at, there was a war pamphlet that was written back in the 40s, and they were saying that if you want to invade another country and destroy the government, pass bureaucracy to the government, and it eventually will destroy the government. Is that cold? They knew that if a group starts to buy in bureaucracy long enough, it would destroy innovation. So there's a certain amount of freedom the group has to have for that group to be able to be innovative. Once the group feels smothered, we had a photography team. I created a photography class. Brought a whole bunch of different people into this room. I'm talking about diversity like a motherfucker. And it kept pressure on them, start preaching a certain idea. I would preach sometimes the same message every class. Just drill it in, drill it in. From that class, we produced so many talented photographers and videographers that it is overwhelming how many that came from that class. It's like 1, 2, 3. It was so many I can't even. One day I tried to sit down and count them all, and I was like, it's so fucking many. But we created a culture where the culture went from shooting together, learning together, to breaking off throughout the week, working together, to conversations on the phone, to like sharing knowledge, sharing information, sharing tools, competing with each other, supporting each other. And before you know, you look up and everybody's paid professional photographers. Where if I came in there and was like a classroom, sometimes they get too rigid, those things don't produce great artists. They're too rigid. Keep going.
Innovation, then, is not the product of one-off smarts.
No, it's not. Wait, innovation is not what?
The product of one-off smarts.
So you mean Elon Musk is not the super dope, innovative person that the world trying to make him? Is it more or less the cultures he builds that produces him, produces his outcomes? You see where I'm going with this? Keep going.
But it is the result of the emergent property that our cultural learning has produced.
There you go. Keep going. So culture has to practice. So cultural learning, the key word, I want you to see that word. Cultural learning, cultural learning, cultural learning. I may not start this next, I may not start the gap instinct, because gap instinct is going to be another one that will hit you in the gut. And your brains might need to just process this one. If you don't see the cultural learning, pay attention to the cultural learning habits. Like 5T Media, okay, so we have a rule at 5T Media. Every employee, if you're the same as you were last year, you have failed us. I ain't gonna tell you what to learn, but if you're the same as you are last year, you have failed us. Each year, my team continues to maintain that rhythm, right? There's times when some members of the team kind of started dragging and kind of copied paste last year, and they got called out. Hey, let me talk to you real quick. What is this? This is whack. Everybody else love it. I don't give a shit. It's trash. You're not learning. You're not moving. I'm noticing you're just stale. Damn, you're attacking me because I'm stale? Yes, I am. Because our greatness is about all of us moving a certain rhythm. And from that natural free movement, we're producing shit I can't imagine. Contracts don't come in I don't get conscious from a linear system. I go out, I put this one pipe in the system, and it's constantly extracting opportunities. It comes from a movement that's pulling people from all over the place. We're getting referrals and jobs coming to the door all the time. I don't have any ads on any magazines, not on television, but the energy and the growth of our team and who people are becoming. Like if you were to look at Danielle when she first started, Danielle, she's a cold designer. I wish you would have saw her when she first joined us. You'd be like, oh, poor baby. I hope she gets somewhere. Now Danielle's somebody you want to celebrate and go to a show and look at her work and listen to her ideas, right? Everybody on my team has evolved. Dre, God bless his heart, big ego, had this oversaturated, ugly-ass photography. Now Dre is one of the coldest street photographers I've ever seen and the coldest videographers I've ever seen. Josh, when he first met me, Josh was trash. You know what Josh said to me the first day he met me? He sat down in front of me and says, you know, Nana, I think I'm better than you. I looked at him and said, maybe you don't sit your ass down before I clown you. And I clowned the shit out of him in that class. Because I used to break the egos of new artists because they would all walk in and think they were great. And I would start them off with like, you're trash. Josh, he's eccentric as fuck, but his work is amazing. Kev Earth the Jerk, when he first came to me, he showed me his portfolio. I couldn't understand what the fuck he was showing me. It just looked like abstract art because I couldn't see the picture. He's like, what's wrong with my picture? I said, it's just trash, bro. And that was my name. The number one intro was, it's trash. He stayed with the culture. Kev is one of the coldest photographers in Oakland right now. Mm-hmm. Hands down, right? Goose first came to class. He's always been Goose. Well, you know, that's going to be my nephew. Look at Goose work today. Cold as fuck. Evolution. I don't think Goose was trying to do street photography. I think he was doing hip hop music at first. Now he's when you see if you ever go on Facebook and join him as friend, right? DeAndre, I'll never call him by his real name. Yeah. So join his page and look at his work and you'll be like, oh my God, this is capturing black culture like I've never seen before. It's emergence. When these guys first walked in, none of these guys was these guys. Jasadi was a you know that nerd style with like the backpack, this nerd glasses. Mm-hmm. He had a nerd style. He was just pure nerd, right? Jasadi hella dope. Mm-hmm. All these people I just named live full time off their art. Shakina, my business partner doesn't realize it's the same person he goes, this is not you. When he first met, so Shakina was a model when she first came to class. Didn't do any photography. Herbalife. I'm talking to photographers, right? I'm talking strictly to photographers. Shakina says something. I said, excuse me, why is the model talking when the photographers are talking? You don't shut the fuck up. Because she had this voice that was high pitched and would burn your ears. Because she would talk from her nasal because she was doing the cute shit, right? Emergence. Now she's running her own gym. You might be in her gym. That shit's fire, right? My motherfucking Fern. I'm gonna call Fern out. Okay, if you ever read Donald Goines, you would have read a better book if Fern would have wrote hers back in the days. Fern was my first partner. First of all, she looks like my family. Like if you meet my son of my family, she looks like my family. I never met a player as hard as me until I met Fern. I was like, damn, you cold-blooded. And I fell in love with her like that. But Fern was like, she was like an Oakland player. Am I lying? Anybody know Fern? Am I lying? She was an Oakland player. She moved with players, driving clean-ass cars, you know, got them jumping out the car like, yo, Fern. I'm like, damn, I need to hang out with Fern. It's like that, right? Hey, I'm just saying, Fern was a player from Oakland. If you go to her events today, emergence. The most amazing wine parties I went to her wine party, and I don't think I've ever done anything that has to do with wine that amazing. She was the size of a football field, packed wall to wall, mostly black folks, selling black wines. And you seen black people, and like it almost gave you remember when Atlanta first popped off and you was like, damn, it became this beautiful thing. It almost became like Wonderland to you, right? Her event's Wonderland. Mm-hmm. If you want to go see something that has to do with black culture, you go, damn, that's what we can be? That's her event. And it's a mindset. It's a group. It's an energy. It's not a book. It's not a trick. It's not I sat in class one day and I got it. When we're in class, a lot of times I'm just drumming up stuff that you forgot about. I'm really going like this with the leads. The leads are like, oh, damn, I forgot about that. I forgot about this, right? But you won't remember if you, in isolation, the only people you talk about don't talk about business. You might even think you're great if you're the only person could dunk on a 6-foot court and everybody else midgets. You're like, yeah, I'm cold. Now I be going, yeah. The court's 6 feet, bro. But then you come around other giants and you realize, oh, I gotta work on my jumping. That's the big difference. Emergence is this organic, it's serendipity. Serendipity is like this, it's like it's just magical. It's not magical. It's the property of a healthy group. It's not a hold yourself accountable. It's not a religion. It really is in a property that I can't tell you how it's gonna happen. I just gonna tell you it's gonna change you. That's it. Even you say, okay, no, I can't come back here because I didn't like the grades. When I was old. I saw it back in the days. I didn't like Josh Gibson. Okay, cool. But join a group. Join a group that has a forward-moving energy, and trust me, it's going to translate. It's going to translate all the way down to your relationships, your kids, the items you put in your house. Everything's going to change drastically. In isolation, you'll be surprised who you'll become. So, any questions about the emergence before we get up out of here? Hopefully I destroyed this whole idea. We built the pyramids, so we're special. No, that was a healthy culture that got also destroyed. Once a culture gets destroyed, you don't see the continuous of the emergence. Meaning that if somebody came in tomorrow and blew up California and killed everybody in California, technology would take a hard fall off because that emergence that came from that culture is continuously producing, right? But if you disrupt it by war, which destroys a lot of the culture, because back in the days, culture, they came and killed people. They wasn't all this like, get over here and you go over here, and now you're under my flag. No, I'm killing you. And so now you're really resetting the evolution and innovation of human beings. So there's many groups that have died. There's many sapiens who have died before us, many groups who have died before us who died with great inventions. They could have had a plane. They could have had all kind of stuff. That's possible, but it's not because they're spiritually greater. Why? Because if you believe that, then that makes you believe that maybe white people are greater, maybe Jews are greater, maybe Asian. No, all these groups are only great because if they develop a rich culture, they will come off as almost spiritually anointed. They're not anointed. They have a rich culture that produces anointed properties.
Game.
When y'all get that shit, it's gonna be like, oh, so when you build a staff, okay, real quick, I'm gonna show you real quick. You build a staff, 2 minutes. You running your organization. Go back to your organizations and look at your systems and give thought to the way people are working together. So we got three designers in the office. And when Shama was first giving them jobs like this, like playing cards, I stopped and say, hey, stop. No. The team must override the individual. So let's work on when a job comes in, how does the team attack it? And that way the quality of the work goes greater than any individual. Otherwise, if we keep relying upon the individuals to do the jobs, that individual emotions, capabilities, exhaust. Meaning if you've been designing for 10 years, you usually burn out, right? But if you're part of a team and the team is moving, then your participation in the culture, it's like Haslam on the Miami, how he was an old ass player. You ain't never seen him come in the game except, I don't think he came in the fourth quarter. But he was there because he brought a certain energy to the team that enriched the quality of the team, right? So now you don't need to be the coldest person on your team if you have a smart design inside your office. Anytime you start hiring multiple people, pay attention to the culture and how people interact, and the outcome is tied to that, not the richness of the individual you hire. That's why McDonald's will smoke a high-end chef time and time again in their growth patterns, because they build smart systems where a chef is banking everything on his ability to flip that burger and bring the finest type of quality products and produce the finest tasting burger. No, you're missing the fucking point. McDonald's said, what is the best system we could design, best culture? When you go to McDonald's, they orientate you to a culture. This is what we believe in. This is how we move. This is how we talk. This is how we think. This is how we get down. This is why we do it. And this is the promise we made to the public. And you're joining our culture. You're part of our cultural team. And y'all go in there and start using people like workers, because that's how you thought of yourself based upon some places you worked at. No, when people come into your organization, they're joining a team. They're joining a mindset. And that mindset is greater than anybody on that goddamn team. Do not go to work tomorrow and start talking about like, oh, I've hired PhDs and fired them faster than I can hire them. Because they were terrible team players. I had a young lady who made me a lot of fucking money. You know why she got fired? She wasn't a good team player. Get your ass out of here. I value the team over her making me money, and then the team made me more money. Your team can do anything. The individuals, they're tired. Somebody cute just walked in front of them. They bloated, whatever. Yeah, when you blow it, I'm like doing shit. I don't know about y'all. I'm bloated. I don't want to do nothing. But anyway. So, okay, next class, after I teach the next class, I'm going to start designing questions that may not be able to be answered by you because your ego won't let you answer it. You're going to find out questions that your ego will not let you answer. But what these questions are going to do is help you develop a level of introspection and self-auditing and self-awareness that will help you be more present. So they're going to make you very uncomfortable questions. You're going to try to answer them. You're going to realize you can't. You really can't answer these simple-ass questions. But it'll be about you or something you believe in. And as you examine those, it's going to become a philosophical journey you can go on inside your head, but it's going to make you more aware of your day-to-day actions. So in top of the lessons, because each class I'm going to come with more. Next week we're going to deal with the gap instinct. Gap instinct, if you don't understand the gap instinct, you can't see the market. Once I teach you this, you'll be able to see the market, the complexity, and the opportunities. If you can't see the market, you can't see the opportunities, right? But I'm also going to work on creating questions that will stump you and force you to be more self-aware so you can actually use these tools, because without self-awareness, none of this stuff is possible. Any questions before we go home? All right, I'm leaving out of here in 5 minutes, y'all, because I got to get my car charged. So I'm going to say some cool conversations. Don't take it personal. Don't get all sensitive, emotional, because I did a Batman on you when you turned your head. You said, nah, and I was already gone. So I'm just let you know. So that being said, as they say, we're in Miami. Stay cool, y'all.